I'm just curious. I saw you shuffling your checks with your right hand. Can you do that with both hands?
No. Be a man, don't be a fucking pimp.
Are we sitting comfortably?
I need a volunteer. Come at me with an imaginary knife.
Ouch! Ouch!
That's how it's done. Who's next?
That's me!
I love it. I love it.
Haha, my sound was off. Typically. Thanks very much, Daniel, for the $5 super chat. I'll eat that. And thanks very much, Michael. Thanks for all your badass TA. We love you. I love you too. Thanks very much, Michael. Everybody's great here.
I need a volunteer. Come at me with an imaginary knife.
Ouch! Ouch!
That's how it's done. Who's next?
That's me!
I love it. I love it.
So thanks for volunteering there, Leslie. That's appreciated and typical of me. And Frostcrest. Stop donating, Frostcrest. I'll have to get some more chat on that so we can always send me messages. Thanks very much. I owe you for that, Frostcrest, and thanks, Leslie. Right, so what were we talking about then? What would I have missed? We said that there was a mixed picture across the time frames. On the daily time frame, you can see that we've got weakening momentum on the MACD. We did have, and we'll see if this is a low, then potentially that would be bullish divergence on the MACD. But they would see that that's very ahead of time to be starting to make those sort of predictions. When you can see on the RSI there is already a touch of bearish divergence should the prices go higher again today. Unless, of course, the RSI gets higher, and the truth is it's already ticked slightly lower, but that isn't like the real low you'd necessarily be comparing it to. It might be back here, in which case you'd say, well, there's still quite a bit to go on this drop before you start looking at divergence and measuring things, and you've got the 177 sort of 182 zone there, and it looks like it may get sucked that direction based on the RSI on the daily time frame, but that's not yet confirmed. It certainly hasn't printed a new daily yet, and we'll see how that goes. The important thing about today's close, it's a weekly close. Everything looks as you'd expect to see across the indicators on the weekly. Still very positive trend, and that's reflected across the board. It's also the 3-day close today. Pardon me, and you can see that there's, again, nothing to worry about on this particular time frame. Everything confluent with the price action. We can see that the strength of this trend has been dipping, but it's still well above 38, and if the prices are getting caught by this 20 period moving average that we talked about here, then the 618 on this Fibonacci that took us up from the low of the cup to the top of the rim, then that would be a natural retest to it. That's what we would have expected with the cup with handle. And we've got that now finally. On the RSI, everything's fine. On the MACD, everything's fine. And if we get a daily close here, that's totally cool on the 3-day. We'd like to see it up about 950 on the weekly. Because, 200 and 950, because that's where our close came in at the end of last week. So we'd like to see it better than there, but it doesn't particularly matter. It's about what you finish above on the other side of the trade that matters. And the 20 period on the 3-day, round about here, maybe where we finish because of that. On the 2-day, you can see we're below this 20 period moving average. Itself is putting in a little bit of a negative slope, but we haven't opened and closed below it. This will be your first close below, and then like we say, the 618's here, so that might catch it down below where we were talking about that zone before. 50 period moving average coming in, probably tick up around to 172 tomorrow, and then, well, Monday, and then on Tuesday even actually, and then dropping down to the daily time frame, you can see that this confluent, this lower low on RSI here, also on price action, but when it comes to the MACD, there's question marks still being asked, and then there's absolutely no strength of trend on the daily, represented by the Rocky Outcrop's DMI, dropped down to the 4-hour, and we can see perhaps a touch of Class B bullish divergence coming in. Is this really a lower low than here? Not actually. And the MACD's really dripped off here, you know, looking down at the 4-hour, you can see that there's huge bullishness, and the momentum from this, like, it's completely died off on the upside, on the downside, and then back with this low here, you can see that there's lower low on price action but higher on the RSI. So on the 4 hour you have a touch of Class B bullish divergence there to head into. So it may not take us through the top side of this.
Why, goddammit, you're wasting my time!
Yo, get to that in a second. So what was it just saying there? I was supposed to finish my thoughts. What was it? Bloody hell. On the 4 hour, yeah, there's bullish divergence on the 4 hour, but there's bearishness on slightly higher time frames. So we want to burn off the bearishness by turning the prices around. But I don't know if this hidden Class B bullish divergence is going to be enough to take us through the top side of our range. So if we do pop up, it may be as far as we get at the top of this channel. And dropping down to the 1 hour, you can see again this picture of bearishness confluent with lower highs. The MACD not really giving us much because it's equal low here really and equal low in RSI, and you go back, that's the third touch of that. Perhaps you could say that that's weakening down to the trend 30 minutes, similar sort of picture. Below the 200 across here. It was only ever really that trade looked like it would get you as low as here at the 618 retrace. Be surprised if it did break below this at this stage, and if it did on the higher time frames, you might get the 4 hour, for example, you might get a lot of bullishness. If it did make it down here, it would be a certain bounce. Already bounced off this particular area that we marked in today on our low. Turn on exteriors, don't see anything particular, so like this wicks here may indeed touch this area again. That's not really a big deal. It'll be lower than back here. Yeah, RSI would be higher, so there would be a touch of bullishness again on the tiny time frames, you know, and that's what you're really looking at when you're at these sort of areas. You're thinking, is there going to be a bounce, and where does the bounce come in at? And it seems to me that there will be, and will it come in here or slightly lower? Well, the counterintuitive aspect to this is that if the bounce comes in slightly lower, then there won't be any bearishness from the higher time frames at the end of today. We'll have closed that out, that potential negativity, even though it means the price is going lower on the weekly, the 3 day, the 2 day, and then perhaps start confirming bullishness on the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and the 15 minutes. And all those sorts of things make me think, because the indicators themselves are across the time frames are a little bit giving us a mixed picture, and the divergence between them then tells us a story, and that story is again represented with the DMI. We can see it clearly here on the 15 minutes or the 1 hour and 4 hour especially. The strength of trend is completely annihilated. These things usually lead to huge moves. There's like a fight going on between negative and positive trend there, but the strength of either of them is completely dead. So there's no strength in any move at the minute, and so it's likely to spring back to the middle-y sort of area. There's your science. And what I mean by that is on, say, perhaps a 4 hour time frame, on average range of these candles, you take it some sort of bounce in and around this area from this mini tiny high. Let's say it makes it right down to the 618 as I've drawn it, then you'd be thinking that potentially today a close around 205 might be what you would be looking for, or expecting something in and around that area. And if it's that's like on the top side, and on the downside you'd be looking in at around that 194 for a close. That doesn't mean to say it can't go lower. You know, 183 to 187, 177, those sort of areas have got good reasons for prices to get sucked there, because on the higher time frames and big accounts would more likely put their orders around those areas. So we'll see. Also, there's this picture being painted by the lower lows with the demand line, so to speak. I'm not a big fan of diagonal lines, but this is an obvious channel. And so, on top of all the other reasons, you might see bounces around here, right? 618 also right to say the basis line of this, and if we were to stay above that, that would be confluent with our slightly more dominant trend on these lows. Do get touches below, but those themselves are divergent and or rare. So that's the general picture. Nothing too desperately worryful about this price action. Nothing to think it's anything other than what we've anticipated, and that's represented by all of our oscillators. And then on the 15 minutes, due to the nature of these sorts of zones, it could be that we see like little touches of bounces that go further than you might expect on those shorter candles, and then when you get excited, that peters out and comes back again. Often you'll get caught by either the 20 or the 55 in those sort of moves, and with a smaller time frame resistance in it around 206, then it may be that's struggled to break above. Certainly on this sort of signature, it's unlikely, unless you see a change in the volume, it's unlikely you'd see a break above this sort of area if you even get here, which I wouldn't be anticipating myself today. 206, and then certainly 196, but possibly 183, and the 183, well, it'd be close to the 177, where lots of people have got orders in that have talked about, where they'd put bigger orders and they've been waiting with their dry powder, so we'll see if those orders come through. I think generally speaking, chat would like it if prices turned around, went up, but then the thing to be wary of then would be the picture that would paint on indicators. Specifically, that would paint on the RSI with, no, you'd be okay there between this previous low, but the picture it paints on the way down, not so much. Anyway, especially on the 3-day and the weekly, but something around here is not so bad, and even down there it's not bad. What does this volume really say on the lower time frames? Pretty dire. First hour. What's that all about? $1.298. Where are you getting that from? Wait a minute. Right, well, I don't trust that. Anyway, right, I don't know what the fuck that's talking about. You need to get a big change on the volume signature there, because at the minute, like, nothing's going to happen. Right, neither to the up or the downside. Right, sure, there's places where it'll bounce and such. Prices may go there simply because other people just put their orders there because it's dead obvious, as opposed to in any of the range. And so like there'll be dry books and that, and then the places where they would bounce would be like quite solid, and that's typical. So like prices might get stuck there because people want it there to buy, as opposed to anyone selling the fucking thing. And like just the normal transactions that go through, there's very little of them, but I don't know what's going on there, right? I don't know what that's all about. Let's refresh and see what the fuck I'm talking about there. What's that is? Say it again. What are you talking about? Like, I looked at it there and could only get like maybe a couple $100,000 max, and it wasn't even there to tell me it's 1.3 million. What day is that for? It's yesterday. He's talking bollocks. Yeah, so anyway, you need to see volume there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, it's talking shite. This and these are trustworthy. That, I've two questions about. I wouldn't they not allow retail traders to buy when the MOASS occurs? Why would they let it reach the beloved 69,420, even if it is possible, says Zaro the Norse. The Norse? Zaro the Norse. That sounds like some sort of Nordic god, superhero, comic book superhero or something. Marvel's Nordic Zaro. yo, Zaro, how's it going? Well, we're quite unreasonable bunch over here. So like, you know, if they come to us and they say, can I please have some GME for 69,420, to me, I'd tell them to get the fuck out of my garden. And so, like, the bottom line is, because we own all of the company already, perhaps more than the whole company, and the only shares that the hedgies own are probably just synthetics, and because they themselves hold so many synthetic short positions that account for perhaps over 100% of the company, they're absolutely screwed, mate. You know, so like, you're living down there in reasonable land thinking that, oh no, you know, hedgies are so smart and why would they even let us and whatnot? And it's like, we've already done it. We've already bought it all. Like, we already own the company. It's our company, right? It is. It's our company. We own the fucking thing. And we vote for it to do good shit, and then the amazing CEO does that good shit, and like, it's not all that hard, right? He's turning it into the biggest company in the world. He's already got $1 billion, and that a few months ago we were in debt. So like, he's killing it, eh? Like what? I don't really know where your question is coming from, other than to say that it's like, as I've said before, people who ask that question imagine that what they've done is they've like pieced together some forms of logic and then derived like a reasonable conclusion. And the truth is, right, you're suffering under loads of delusional ideas. No, you gave me a $5 to say this, so I shouldn't be saying something that you think is to critique, right? It's not a critique of you. But it's a really common question. I mean, you'd be surprised. You probably haven't been around this particular channel watching it all, because nearly every stream I get that sort of question. Like, they, right, and that's like the greater they, and it's nebulous, and it's like the hedgies / the Fed / anyone who could intervene, and they want to allow retail traders, which is like us, like the people who don't have our handles on the levers of the system. How will they let us buy it when the MOASS occurs? And it's like, well, when the MOASS is already occurring, like the actual price event, as opposed to the true event, which itself began like in November last year. When the price reacts to like when the true price becomes clear, we don't actually need to buy it. Right? We've already owned 100% of it. It's not a question of us buying it to push up the price. It's a question of we won't sell it, and they're being either forced to cover or being liquidated. Whoop whoop! Someone bought the phone case. I think that's maybe the first one of the Apple phone cases that have gone. Hey, Jones bought it. The legend. She designed it. So like, yeah, that's thanks each. So that's the like, it's not us buying it to push up the price. Like, I'm not fucking buying it up the price up of it. Like, I'm buying it up to like probably 28,000, that sort of price. I'd still think it's fair value there. Like, I'm not buying it right now at that price. But I think over the next 18 months, 5 years, like, there will be times where I'm buying shares or fractional shares, and it costs multiple tens of thousands of dollars, because that's how much the thing will be worth. But in terms of causing the price action part of the MOASS that you're talking about there, it isn't us buying it up there. We already own it all, and it's the nature of supply and demand, right? Is that they've shorted it over 100%. They have to close out those positions eventually, right? They can't have failures to deliver ticking over forever and ever and ever, or they'll go bankrupt, at which point they will be force liquidated, which means that everything takes all their collateral, liquidates every position they've got in order to support their total portfolio, which includes this massive hole in the ground that they've created for themselves by shorting GME, and then every single freaking penny they've got chucks into buying any shares that we'd let them have, which at that stage everyone's going to know what's going on. So on top of like all of the conviction we've already got, our resolve is going to be steeled like 1,000 times over. You know, so people who thought they'd sell at like 2,450 won't fucking sell at 69,420, because they know they can get 10 million plus for this thing. So like, you know, it's not a question of them not letting us buy. It's a question of them like not letting the people who've got outstanding short positions maintain them forever, which they aren't going to do. So like, the MOASS is inevitable. It truly is. And like, for every extra dollar that somebody puts into GME between now and then, like, that counts for shitloads more in terms of the momentum and the squeeze factor. Like, the smaller and smaller and smaller the float gets, which we already own, right? It means that like, they're completely screwed, you know. So like, yeah, sure, you can think to yourself all these different things, and it's totally natural to have anxiety about stuff. And you might worry and think, oh, you know, this and that and the next thing, but the truth is, right, that at the end of the day, whether you're pillared as a dumb money or called retail traders by the media or whatever, and you don't have your handles on the levers, so to speak, of how the rules and regulations work around the stock market, all of that's a lie designed to make you think you don't hold the power. The truth is, you hold the power, and the way you hold that power is by holding the shares. Retail traders, really, the term comes along exclusively because of a particular type of tax, right? It's not actually in any way representative of who we are, right? It's just designed to manipulate our psychology. We're not retail traders, right? That's just a fucking ass-about-face way of some twat talking about who you are because they want to define themselves as better than you. Truth is, you're the fucking answer, right? You're the world, right? The whole thing revolves around us, right? If we are the masses, if we say, nah, fuck this shit, then that shit is fucked, right? There is no, well, how are they going to let us buy it, right? Like, I don't, because they're not, like, they can get fucked. There's millions and millions and millions and millions of us, you know, and we know what's right, and we're not fucking going anywhere. We're not backing down, and we saw what they did in 1998. We saw what they did in 2008. We can see it fucking coming. Fool me once, fool me twice. Get fucked, try to fool us a third time. We know. We know it's not, oh, they're too big to fail. We're too big to ignore. We're too loud to be told to sit down and shut up. And we're not fucking taking it anymore. It's gone beyond anymore. It's gone beyond one more fucking inch of this shit. So the question is, not how are they going to stop us buying this, how are they going to ignore us now? How are they going to turn our volume down? This is just the absolute tip of a fucking huge iceberg that is on fucking fire! It's slamming into them faster than the biggest fuck-off asteroid you've ever heard of in your life! And there's fuck all they can do about it! Absolutely fuck all! And if they even think about pulling some of their fucked up shit, it will be the end of their world! And it isn't me, Jamie Curran, saying this. It's millions of voices. And they're not just speaking with, oh, you know, I'm fucked off and I'm angry and anger's an energy and yada yada. It's, I'm not moving a fucking inch. I will self-immolate before I turn into a paper-handed bitch to serve your purposes. I know what you did to the generations of people who came before me. I know what you'll do to my children's children. You think I'm fucking moving? You haven't fucking met me!
I'm just curious. I saw you shuffling your checks with your right hand. Can you do that with both hands?
Yo, be a man, don't be a fucking pimp.
Yeah. So, the answer is because we're men and we're women. We're not pimps. We're not paper-handed bitches. Luke Spears, 69.99. What a legend. You know, you have to think to yourself, like, you know, what do I deserve? Right? And then you make that happen. You don't say, what's stopping me? You say, what the fuck could even think about stopping us? You know, look to the guy behind you. Look at the woman standing to your right. Look at the fucking thousands of heads in front of you that were here months before you. Think of the fucking noise coming from the back. Who are these people that think they can stop us? Where are their fucking tanks? Where are their fucking bombs? Which fucking bomb is going to wipe us out so that we don't just stand back up and go again? Some of us aren't fucking leaving no matter what. We don't give a fuck. They can turn themselves in to the authorities. They can fucking chop off their hands and legs. They can fucking jump out their fucking window. They can do whatever suits them. Right? But it's too late for apologies. Right? You stick your head between your legs, kiss your own fucking arse, and still not going to fucking accept it. Get fucked.
You bunch of bastards. We know exactly what you're up to. We can see it. We're there's millions and millions of us. And it's getting more and more fucking annoying. Because we already fucking made ourselves perfectly clear. We made ourselves perfectly clear. We've given everybody who need to hear it the biggest warning they ever needed to fucking hear. Daniel Assange with $100. Holy shit.
I'm just curious. I saw you shuffling your checks.
Just the alert's coming up quite a lot.
Can you do that with both hands?
Newbie Streamlabs thinks it's the tone.
Be a man,
Jennifer
don't be a
King
fucking
Campbell.
pimp.
They're not leaving. We're doing this for our children and our children and our children's 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 children. I'm changing my family's future. As
I
we
need a
hope it.
volunteer.
Look at Jamie. Thanks, Jennifer.
Come at me with an imaginary knife.
So you can come at
That's
us
how
with their
it's done.
imaginary knives.
Who's next?
That's me!
I love it. I love it.
And we'll cut a subtle hole right through their soul. So that was prompted by a question, right? That simple answer is a Yorker. You should definitely not be doing this, guys. $99.99.
God damn it, you're wasting my time!
Those alerts altogether very appropriate. And like, you know, I speak for millions of people, and I know that because I get fucking hundreds, if not thousands, of messages from people who say this exact thing. And they're like, you know what, if I had the camera, I'd be on YouTube saying exactly the same fucking thing. I say the same thing to my friends and family, and sometimes, you know, they've got other shit on their mind, so they don't particularly like to focus on how fucked this shit is, so they appreciate me saying their thoughts for them, and that's what it is, right? That's what we're all doing. Why is this, Gamestock Corporation? Yeah, sure, I know it is, but that's not what I'm looking for. Right, how do we fix this? Whoops. Whoops. Thank you everybody for the donations, it's really appreciated. Well, it must be above. Yeah. There you go, buddy. If there was any doubt, today we're focusing heavily on GME, who themselves change their logo more frequently than me. So that'd be like somewhere down right like there or something. And this is the price. So it says the prices. Yay, look at that, we got them. We got this made up nonsense price. Right, sorry, bear with me. I had ridiculous technical difficulties today getting ready. That's not size, is a bit weird, isn't it? Ugh, it's gonna make me feel weird. It's just an inch, it's a pixel out. Pardon me and my ridiculousness. Oh my god, it's not right, but it's gonna have to do. Joe, you're passing towards unveiling the unjustness that has ruled our reality, and standing for what you believe in resonates with many, and it's grander scheme than you realize. I appreciate you, Jamie. Thank you very much. That was Beach Bum. Nice. Beach Bum. If I could be a frickin' really rich beach bum, that's what I'd be. That's what I'd be. It's like a dream come true. Thanks very much. Lol, let's get those likes up, yo. When Coco shouts, she brings all the New York cats to attention. Coco's lying in the bed. She was asleep, but I'm sure I've woken her up now like an idiot. Thanks so very much for the donations there, everybody. D, that was huge. What you doing, man? Jesus Christ. And so was that from Daniel and Luke. I'm blessed to have built up a huge pile of shares, 170, and my retirement account that I marked
for the infinity pool. Never selling those, ever, fam. King Nosh!
I'm just
Nom
curious.
nom 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 nom.
I saw you shuffling your checks with your right hand. Can you do that with both hands?
Young, be a man, don't be a fucking pimp.
170 in your retirement account that you're never selling. What a legend, that's a huge amount of money. Yep, and that's why people are putting the foot to the pedal, right? There's like a lot of force behind this thing. Wow! It matters how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. How straight the gate, how charged the punishment with the scroll. I don't know that one. I'm gonna have to copy that and then look that up later.
I'm just curious. I saw you shuffling your checks with your right hand. Can you do that with both hands?
Back Harriet.
Young, be a man, don't be a fucking pimp.
Oi, there is my Lord Butt Cheeks. How you doing, my Lord Butt Cheeks? You're sharing a Discord link. Thanks very much. I have to look around my phone because sometimes the messages I'm trying to read have moved up behind the camera. Tradespotting, the volume is so low for so long that in of itself is a massive red flag that fuggery is afoot, says Stephen Effin. Yeah. The fuggery, well, it's unique market conditions, right, with nobody selling it regardless of where the price goes to, you know, like we didn't sell it, some of us bought it, like, I mean, I was getting it. Anyway, right, that's not the point. The point is some of us have bought it really fucking cheap, so the idea that we'd sell it now is just kind of absurd. I mean, it was offensive, and then for a while it was humorous, and now it's boring, right? We're clearly not selling anything. Tradespotting, I read that the handles typically resolve within 1 to 4 weeks, given that the basin of the cup is huge. Does that mean that our handle could be longer than the usual 5 to 7 weeks? Yeah, so there's so many things that you would look at with regards to this signature and looking at it in the past, and all of these assets like tend to have their own behaviours that fit within that schema. The main one with the cup and handle is that that it's supposed to be on the weekly time frame, right? That's what it's supposed to be on, and I think it has to be, what is it, like the basin has to be like at least 7 weeks or something. That's like what you're ideally looking at, and let's say that that's something like there, like 8 to 9, right? So 16 bars, 2 weeks. Is that what it is, right? That's sort of like within the scope of it. And then that's why you're probably saying, well, does the handle have to be twice as much as well? And I suppose, right, I can understand your thinking there, Frosty, like my lord, that you are looking at that sort of thing, but that what I would say that you're doing is like there's like an 80-20 rule when it comes to technical analysis, right? So really what you're looking at with any formation is, has it been in place or taken the sort of like, or taken enough time as being involved in its formation that you can say that it is legitimate. The cut-off period for when things then explode, and instead of then saying, well, is this doubled because that's doubled, and like treating it like baking a cake and the ingredients and whatnot and stuff, instead the way I would look at it is I'd say, right, well, I've done 80% of what I'm going to get from that, looking at that tool. Or using that particular form of analysis, and to get the next 20% of value that it presents, I'd have to do like the remaining 80% of the work on that thing, and it's like more efficient and like better off way of spending your time, and like better way of getting confluence and more reliable to spend that that extra time looking at other things, right, to get a further confirmation of the picture. And instead, when it comes to looking at the second part of the formation, as does that take longer because this took longer, the way to look at that is, because this part, the basin and the cup part, took so long, first is to check, like, is it legit? And it's on the weekly time frame, it's long enough. That's the important part. Yeah, it's maybe longer than normal, but then what are the disqualifications of it, right? And they're not as much the amount of time it's gone on for. They're more, what is the volume like in the basin when prices are below average, right? And when they were in this basin, was the volume below average? And here you can see, like, you can't actually, yeah, you can. There you go, right? There's the moving average. And when we were in the basin part of the cup, yeah, the prices were below there, and that's like the biggest one. after how long it's lasted, and then there are various other ones, but again, you don't want to spend too much time on those sort of things. You want to think about, well, what else can I do that will give me an idea, and how do these patterns tend to work at the end if they are extended. What it means usually is that the move that comes off it is you get the full power that it suggests. So for example, Tradespotting, RE cup and handle, 80-20 rule. So essentially once this information is current, we can be confirmed the resolution of the handle no matter how long it takes, hence hold. There's no guarantees in life. It's just it increases the probabilities of things. After a certain point of time, you have to say, well, what else is going on? And there may be more to your picture, right? So this is the it's like a continuum. Technical analysis is a continuum, and that's okay to have it like that, and rather to bookend it by making conclusions. Instead, just look at what's it telling us at the minute, and what does that mean might be coming in this continuum, rather than draw like hard and fast conclusions, because then you're in danger of like creating this point of an event psychology where you start then making false assumptions to justify your own hypothesis, and instead just keep an open mind is the best way to do things. And the cup and handle is still like the dominant formation that we're looking at. Instead of drawing hard and fast things, what you can say is that if the basin took so long, then the handle, sure, it might take longer, but what it means is the ultimate move that comes off the end of that is likely to get the full 100% of the predicted move or more, whereas typically you would only really look for 60% of any move, right? This is how I would trade. I don't know where I read or learnt this or whatever, right? I don't think I did. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, right, you'd be looking at this and you'd see the breakout in that, and there's up to 581 based off this formation. But with it, typically you would say, well, you're only going to get 60% of that, and that's from 343 up to 600, so $270. So 60% of that is about what? Let's call it like 80, 90. What is it? No. It's 270, so 135, 150, let's say $150 from 300. You might only be looking up at like 480 or whatever normally, like 484, 490. That might still be the case, because that's typical of this formation. But the longer and the more extended it all goes on, then the more you might look for the full 100% and take you up to the 580, because there'd be so much pressure by the time that it moved, and so much expectation behind it, that once it did start kicking off, like, so many people jump in, and it's so obvious that when one direction is picked, so many market participants then have their minds made up for them and jump, and so like it goes the full thing, like all doubt gets removed with the extension of it, and then the move tends to be more explosive. And on the other side of things, if it's a tighter formation, if it breaks out sooner than you might expect, if it doesn't quite make the full 77 weeks, for example, on the weekly chart, which is your minimum really for cup and handles, if it all happens before that, or it breaks out before the horizontal resistance above you at the rim of the cup, if it breaks out lower down than that, really does its biggest move, then you might say that the extension from it is reduced even further than 60%, and you'd be looking for resistance beforehand. And so it's rather like saying, right, well, this is what we know, and here's what it means. You say, like, well, here's all the different stuff we know. There's like probably stuff out there we don't know. And this sort of thing we can see is giving us like a picture of where things are probably going to go within like, well, a reasonable extension of whatever frame of reference you've chosen on your timeline. So like the weekly, then you're only going to be thinking like, well, what's this, right? Did this move over the period of 4 weeks? Does it take 4 weeks to get up there? No, it doesn't, right? Easily do that in 1 week, right? Do it way less than a week. It's that you would probably be saying, well, it's not going to give you a picture of information for the next 16 weeks, just going back 4, right? And so like, but you go back maybe 15 or 16, then you might get a good picture of what you might be looking at over the next 4, 6, 8 or something like that. So it's just a question of like constantly building your picture, and then like never stopping, never thinking like, oh, this is what this means or that what that means. And sure, at some point you'll have to make trades, and when you're doing that, you always want the psychology of being able to say, right, well, we've done this, we've done that, we've done the next thing, and here's the next thing. and so there is an impression that you give yourself when you're coming to make conclusions, to make decisions, that you know stuff and that stuff's happened. But the truth is, you're like balancing the probabilities. Those things can change all the time, and so like it's neither and while in the world there does exist ethics, there is good, there is bad. When it comes to like this sort of thing and looking at charts and price action, there is this idea of good and bad is a false argument, right? They don't really exist. There's just information, and so if you're able to like neutralize that and say, well, this is just sterile information, and it may add up to one picture or the other. Oh hi mom. What is that? Oh, that cable. Thanks. It made up to one picture or the other. We're distracted. Just so I think I basically essentially answered the question, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So really, I'd say like the premise of the question is a good one. Because that same answer that I tried to sort of wrap around the question. It's the same answer for every part of technical analysis. You know, it's very difficult to say like this is what's happening and like stand up and at the podium and say, my friends, you know, all you can really say is that some things rarely, if ever, don't happen, and their like reliability is strengthened by the fact that when they happen, some result like has a percentage of a reaction. And so, for example, the HVP signals. In the history of GameStop, like there's been a few of them, and it's always resulted in the price never going back to that sort of area. Like once, twice, and now the third time, like and this time's like replicating the exact same sort of pattern, so like loosely used word, as we saw the last time. So like the things like that, you're like, well, this always happens when that happens, and it's on such a high time frame. And then you're like, well, we can sort of work within the reasons of this is our greater nebulous of understanding, and within that there's other things, but always be mindful of the fact that, you know, you don't know anything for sure apart from the past, and in the past there's like loads of things that you don't know because they haven't finished happening yet, so your ability to perceive the outline and construct itself is limited because of the way you perceive events. And so if you don't do that sort of stuff and like you just think about like all the potential outcomes, then you sort of get to the point where like we were here when we were looking at the analysis, and I was saying like, well, looks like it could go on and form a cup and handle, and that like and on a small time frame. And what might happen is then if you did get up here and did this, then you'd form another cup and handle, and then if you get up, then you'd form this huge piss off cup and handle. And so like you can say, as though it's counterintuitive to think this way, like you can do a better job of predicting what's coming if you don't make firm decisions on what's already happened yet. When I say predicting, again, I use that word very loosely. So that's that answer, I think. There's Rocky. Frank, Rocky must have finished. I hope your stream went good, Rocky. Frank, I'd say unlikely that was in $40 or so. However, yes, it could happen, but he would need to spend nearly no time down there. I'm not betting on it. Who's he? But would no he, but yes, it could happen, but wouldn't. I don't understand what we're talking about. Maybe that's AMC, because $40 is a long way down. Who's afraid of the GME? The GME. Who's afraid of the big? But we huff and puff and blow all of your stupid skyscrapers down. Right, so you're looking at the 618 retrace there. It's like already had it. But don't say basically, Jamie. Yeah, that's not it. It's down here. Yeah, we still get that sort of quite obviously looks like you might still get it. And if you don't, then you would say that that's bullish because it's so very obviously sort of should test it. Have you... Wait, does that say? Have you... Yo man, you're an inspiration. Sugar, it's gone from there. Can I see it somewhere else? Sugar, that went from there. Ah, sugar. Someone said something nice. I would have liked to have read it. It will have been a donation from the other way too, which means I don't pay any fees. So it's very generous. And I've got to see what it was. Didn't see the amount. I was trying to catch the words. And then I didn't see the name either. Ah, gad. yet. If the moderator saw that or something, tell me in chat what it said and who it was. So thanks. Maybe it says it in chat, does it? Can't see it. Anyway, sorry about that. Missed that. And then look, I've done to my head. Silly me. Right. Right, why do I keep saying right as if I've come to some conclusion? What am I supposed to be doing? Did I do the TA? I think I might have done. I did like a brief outline of it at one point, and then I think I got distracted answering a question, and now I can't remember what point that came in at. There's also this 20 period moving average. I expect that to be like a one test of this lower part of this candle, see how that goes. If it does get there, if it does, let's see what's the worst that could happen. I mean, the worst that could happen is like we. Can't see it from that timeline. It doesn't look like it's going down. Above it, this doesn't look really like it's going down either. Like, and that's the 4-hour time frame, which is what GME is very true to. Like, it doesn't look like there's the bottom of this thing. That's the only thing that suggests it'll get there. I mean, the worst that can happen is that someone like Michael Burry, right, revered by the mods at Superstonk, comes along and says on Twitter, meme stocks are going down, when there's already absolutely shit all volume, and it convinces some pipper hands to like chip their shares out, chuck their moon ticket out the window, and that's like the only volume you're going to see. And is that enough to take it down here? Well, not really, because there's nobody fucking selling the thing. There's plenty of people that'll take it below 200, so I can't even see that having an effect. I just don't see it going below the 618 here, even though I've got that drawn out. And I've talked about it a number of times. I just don't see it. It's also it is the, but it would be beyond this. It's hard to make predictions for the downside because it doesn't really look like it's going there. But like, we've already got these things drawn in where it would probably get caught. Frank says at Tradespotting. Yo Frank, how's it going, buddy? Stefan says Tradespotting, with all the new DTC rules, what technicals scam are hedge funds using to fade the price action if no one is selling? Well, they still do a lot of their transactions in dark pool. This is the thing, right? The machinations of behind the scenes with regards to the exchange of securities isn't all as we'd like to imagine. Like when we see it on exchange, there's so many different things that go involved in it, and so many things used as collateral against each other, and such a big complicated mess when you took at the whole idea of portfolio margining and you look at these massive accounts. There's so many different things they can do in terms of just accounting tricks to move things around. That looks like accounting tricks. Essentially, that's what it is. The bottom line is just moving things across a ledger. Nothing really moves from its main base at the DTC, for example. And these sort of people have all got their hands mostly in each other's pies in different places, which is perhaps one of the reasons why it's taken so long to work these rules through. So how do they do it? Well, they fade price action often using just the order book, right? You can catch a lot of people out just by putting lies on the order book, like FD orders up here, and sure, you'll take them if it comes to it, but really you want the price to go away, push it down there and reduce the pressure on the market, and some algorithms will look at that sort of thing and take it off. Now, you don't spoof the order books now because that's illegal, but I'm sure they try, and I'm sure they do the equivalent that spoofs the algorithms themselves that try and trade it. Like just normal, typical things like the word of mouth, where you create anxiety among their brokers, and there's other things they can do to their brokers too, who all depend on them for their investment banks for their survival, and hedge funds for their survival. They couldn't exist without someone to provide them with shares, and the market itself is so over choked that on purpose by the hedge funds they do this. They have a number of people providing brokerage services so the market is so chock-a-block with people they control that it's impossible to break into it. It's like a hidden monopoly itself.
The voices.
Any luck with the link? any intel? What link? What intel? What are we talking about here? Who was that? Is it here? Irish Meltdown. Any link? What the? Oh yeah, you were talking about the link from Zero Hedge, and he was talking about. This is Irish Meltdown. He's talking about. He put a comment on the video yesterday, and we were looking at it. It was Zero Hedge had tweeted about a court case with regarding essentially fraud. It's an antitrust lawsuit. I think, right, and now there's two different things I've saw, and I'm not sure if they're the same lawsuit or not, but it's like this new state of New Mexico was one of them, and they're suing pretty much every one of the biggest banks in the world from every one of the largest countries in the world, right? All of them. Bank of America, Citigroup, right? JP Morgan are probably there. I didn't notice that one, but they're Bank of America, Bank of Canada, Bank of Canada, Credit Suisse, as always, right? They're like in every single one of these things, right? You'll get Credit Suisse nearly, or in every one of these fucking things. They're no friends of the common person at all. And there's an antitrust lawsuit, a federal one, being taken against these people, and it looks like it might have some legs, and it would be good to see if it did. And Zero Hedge is tweeting about how there's fraud again, as everyone knew, in the credit default swaps, which we all experienced in 2008, right? That was how they screwed us in 2008. By giving their toxic mortgage-backed securities to one particular bank. AIG were allegedly, allegedly were one of the biggest banks to be doing this sort of stuff, and they got away with it by dumping all of their toxic assets on Lehman Brothers, and so did many other banks. And a similar sort of thing happened here in Scotland. A lot of the British banks, the Bank of Scotland, us in Scotland here managed to create this bank, hundreds of years old, and do quite well with it. Then this one particular guy, Sir Goodwin, he's called. He had his knighthood removed after he was caught. He'd obviously overextended, and they had bought AIG, I think it was. No, not AIG, the Dutch bank, ABN, or was it? They bought them, and they'd got shitloads of debts, and they were all the same thing. All the problem was the credit default swaps, massive upwising problem. It looks like it's happening again, because none of it was ever fixed. It was just dumped with people, and then those companies were liquidated, and all the stupid mortgages fell back out into the world again. Interest rates stayed low, but inflation has outpaced it over the piece, and so people are still not able to afford to pay for the things that caused the problem back then. And it's a similar issue. It's going to cause liquidity crisis, which as I explained on the Jackson Hunter video, essentially a liquidity crisis is a credit crunch, and when that happens, nobody is willing to lend anybody any money because they themselves their collateral is worth nothing. So, so that link, what did I learn about that? Well, I didn't learn much other than what I read off the page itself, obviously, and that federal lawsuit looks like it might go somewhere, right? Because a lot of these things don't even get to that level, so that's interesting. And then, but I don't understand the American judicial system.
I'm just curious.
I don't know what court it
I
is.
saw you shuffling your checks with your right hand. Can you do that with both hands?
No. Be a man, don't be a fucking
hand. Right, so that's the that's not nothing. I don't really will add much value to that, other than the fact that I've spoken to friends who I used to work with who then moved to JP Morgan and work out of Japan, and they say that the same problem that everyone's talking about with credit default swaps is actually there's other new toxic problems nearly as bad, if not worse than it, that originated there in Japan with equity default swaps, which was started by JP Morgan. And some of their executives who came up with these sort of ideas, right, which are again nearly the same problem, but even worse, right, even worse. And who knows if that's involved in our favourite equities or not? I suspect it might be. And it could be when I say a fire starts to burn, right, that's what could happen, right? This could be if that shit goes over there at the minute when there's communism celebrating its 100th anniversary of rule in China, and Japan's America are running secret war drills in the Straits of Japan on the same day, and that shit could kick off, right? Shit could really kick off. It would be a huge problem, and We'll see, right? We'll see what goes on there. But I'm not looking like I think it's all fucked in. The whole thing's all tied into the Great Reset and the super cycle and commodities and that. The whole thing's like a huge tinderbox. Like that's a really, really dangerous. And I don't know if people don't quite understand it, and you've got people out there like Michael Burry, who's like fucking slamming the system in one way, and then still trying to add his weight to the idea that put Michael Burry out there trying to add his influence to the argument to the downside for GameStop, and there are no friends here right, in the world that are out looking for you. You're going to have to look out for yourself, and you're going to have to hope that you can get in a little bit of some safety from the shit that's coming. And I'm not here to shout about disasters and that. I hate people that do that shit, but I can see everybody else is willing it to happen so much. And that there's problems, systemic problems that have been going on for literally decades that are coming to a head now, and people bringing it to a head. People might think, oh, that's, it's this and it's those hedge funds and it's these people that did this and it's that. It's the same shit they've been doing forever. It's just now we've got them cornered and we're not leaving, we're not moving, and that's it. And you can do what you want, right? But we'll burn the world down around us before we let this go on any longer. We know it's just not worth it. We know that everything you're selling us in the future about how things could be is all lies if you don't fix this. There's no, eat grass, eat grass today, just live today, tomorrow will be great, just live one more day, just looks like, nah, fuck you, mate. No, it's not about that anymore. We're completely unreasonable. We've heard what our demands. There is no negotiation. There's only you accepting it or us growing in number, us determination increasing. You're not going to there will be money coming into our pockets for now until the days we die, and this is a cause that won't die with us. We will always be doing this, and it'll be GameStop, 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 can't stop. It's GameStop. We'll never stop until we win. All we need to do is keep doing what we've been doing. And there is literally nothing they can do about that because we already own the company, and there is only so much of it, and we can buy any more of it that's put out there because we'll be alive. We will persist, and the problem won't go away. Neither are we. Somebody's going to have to fix it. And we're not the thing that's broken, so we don't need fixed. Just because Barry is intelligent doesn't mean he's right. Yeah, tell me about it. I've been wrong plenty of times in my life, and that. And a lot of people are born intelligent, and they learn, right? They learn and they learn and learn and learn and learn. And some people find it difficult to learn certain things in certain ways, and Michael Burry is one of them, and he's self-confessed to that whole aspect of his personality. And so this is something that he obviously takes longer to learn than other things, which is perfectly understandable. But the fact that he's out here destroying value of things, again, and this time that value is ours, not the hedge funds, shows you that there is a time when people need to put the principles ahead of their own ego, and this is it, And it's hard sometimes to admit you're wrong, especially when you're very, very intelligent. But sorry, Michael Burry, you're going to have to stop doing what you're doing because it's unethical, it is wrong, and you're going to cause a lot of pain to a lot of people who are going to take it out on the greater institutions that you yourself would probably support. So consider that with your intellect. Ashley Lem. And in terms of price of GME, etc. Right, so so this is it. I mean, I could be doing this with some different screen. What's this intermission one? Does it make me bigger or something? No, it doesn't. It's not even worth looking at. What's this one? What are all these stupid scenes? Oh, have I just crashed this? Oh no, don't tell me I've crashed this. Oh my goodness. Streamlabs, what are you doing? Is there something I can do? A Streamlabs restart session. Well, that'll just end the video and start a new one though, won't it? Streamlabs, what are you doing? General settings. Relaunch widgets. Does that do anything? Relaunched the chat thing, but it didn't make Streamlabs work. Sugar. How many people am I pissing off of this? 484, right, that's me fucking my own YouTube channel again. Sorry guys, if I managed to screw Streamlabs somehow, just by clicking something. If you were in charge of GameStop, what would you do? Do you think there's plenty of game? Do you think they're playing the game for us to, or us, or do you think they're looking after themselves first. Is this actually even working? I don't even know if this is working. I suspect the stream has ended, but I can see chat coming up on the left. Does that mean you can or can't hear me? I don't know. I'll ask in chat and find out. Are we back? Now it's acting all weird and flicking around. Be right back scene. That's no use. I need the live scene. Is that me? If I wave, I see me. And I see the mic thing working. It says I'm recording. The stream says on. I can hear you. So right, it must be working. God, I can't be doing that nonsense. That's the last thing we need. I can't remember what we were talking about, but I was again pissed off with burying that. And it's like, you know, I am pissed off with these people. You know, it is unethical. It is annoying. They're boring, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure about this. But is there out there? Do people feel like you deserve more respect just simply due to the fact that you're intelligent, right? Do you? Does that thing? I can understand why people would champion intellect over aesthetics, obviously. But does it mean that either of them are inherently deserving of respect, right? It makes me wonder. Tradespotting. Can hear you. You're back, Jamie. Excellent. I am at least back now. Thank you, my lord. My lord butt cheeks, my lord outcrop, and my lord frosty. Thank you very much for all your help. I am back. I must have been away. If you can say now you're back, I must have been away. There was a decent post about how Barry also had losses from betting so early. He didn't time it exactly right. Same with what's happening now. He's making a profit, but is it the best? Yeah, I don't know. Like, is he making a profit now or what? I mean, that'll all come to be seen. It'll all become to be seen to play out in the course of time, and I'm sure over time he'll continue his trend of success. But I couldn't give two fucks about his personal wealth, and I also don't give a shit about people just because they are or are said to be intelligent, right? And I certainly don't give a shit about people who've made money, and that thinks I should respect them. That doesn't work that way, right? Not for me, anyway. My heroes have always been people who achieve things in life or achieve anything. Kenny G conscious with a hit. Kenny G conscious with a hit. Oh, that was Rocky yesterday doing the Kenny G's inner voice. That's so hilarious, that video. It's so worth a look. I might stick it on in a minute. Were you in charge of Gamestock? Right, so that was the question. I should have answered it. Any luck with the link info, mate? That was beforehand, right? I've got to answer these questions properly. And what was I just talking about was probably straying from the path of if you were in charge of GameStop, right? Well, if I was in charge of GameStop, what would I do, right? Well, I'd say for everybody who owns one full share of GameStop, we'll give you one free game up to the value of $50 if you hold your shares over, let's say, a couple of years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. You know, you get that choice of that as an alternative to a dividend, right? I just do that, just that. I just say, there you go. You hold these shares for a certain number of time, you get a free game. That's what I do, and I do it, but distribute it via an NFT. And in the build up to it, everyone would be like, "Oh, does this mean it's an NFT giveaway? Does this mean it's an NFT crypto? Does this mean it's an NFT dividend? What's going on? Is this going to screw the shorts? Is this going to do that? Is this going to do the next thing?" And it's like, nah, it wouldn't. It's just a totally sensible business decision to attract more people to buy in this share price so that you could raise more funds, be even more liquid, and then achieve even bigger strategic goals and capture even more market share, and then make more money, and then boost the value of those shareholders. So you'd be like, well, yeah, but why would you sacrifice one income stream for another? You know, this one pays out regularly, the other not necessarily. And it's like, you think they're going to come into GameStop and buy one game, especially if you give them that redemption in and around Christmas time? Nah, they're going to come in and they're going to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, you know, hundreds of dollars. Slightly different from AMC, where you're thinking, well, a lot of the people who buy the shares are their customers already, and now does it necessarily give them any a total net revenue or market share increase from free popcorn for shareholders? And that's debatable, but it was a good idea, and I think like it was a little strike of marketing genius at the time. This is not really the same thing, right? This isn't about like trying to create attention or this or that, the next thing. It's just a sensible business proposition. It's one of the biggest markets in the world is computer games, right? It's a huge industry, far bigger than the movie industry, and it will be like subsuming it soon. So the whole idea that, you know, what would you do during George and GameStop? I'd do that. I'd also do what Ryan Cohen's done. I'd have hired the Amazon executives to branch out the whole fulfillment strategy. I'd also set up like a skeleton network that was able to do faster than Amazon deliveries. That would be the base level, faster than Amazon. I'd an attempt to get something like 6-hour delivery, that sort of thing. I'd move shitloads of the shops on a bigger land where it wasn't in malls, where people could come and it was a destination shopping centre, a shopping event, right? You go destination, i.e. everyone from the ages up of like 2 onwards could go there and be left by their parents in a huge gaming centre under supervision, where they pay like way higher than you would for even babysitters, right? Which is expensive AF, if you've got no idea about that. It's so expensive. Childcare is one of the biggest costs to new families and that. And you could be putting them in there where they could be learning things like not just like joining Little League, right? Esports Little League, which I'd set up yesterday. I'd have that set up yesterday, right? Little League esports all around America, all centered around your shop, right? It would be like, you know, I don't know what it's like where you live, but here we've got skate shops, right? There's a few of them, but the people who go to them all know each other, all like each other. Even if they don't like each other, they know that they're in the same sort of subculture. They all shop at that same shop, all of them, all the time. Thanks. That's awesome. It's really good of you. Thanks very much, Mum. See, Mum comes round to visit and makes a cup of tea. You don't even ask for them. And then they burn your face off. Yeah, so I'd be doing that, right? I'd have little leagues. I'd have it based around my shops. Those shops would be on land I owned. I'd have vertical integration, so I'd own a gaming studio, one of the bigger ones. I'd probably start my own and take people from all the big ones, give them as much money as they needed, because I've got $1 billion, right? And I'd immediately add shitloads to the underlying value of the company and its potential revenue in the future. So I'd have a vertical integration with gaming studios. I'd have little leagues. I'd have it centered around shops I owned, on land I owned, which were destination shopping centres with supervision for childcare. And I'd have shitloads of fucking good feeling pumped into those kids from that day until the day they turned 18, when they no longer were part of the little league. They had to join the official esports one, and they'd be already recruited beforehand. You'd have the best teams in the world. You'd have sponsorship. You'd have agents. You'd have a whole massive industry of promoting young people in this whole new industry and their ability to do this and work for themselves. And you'd have shitloads of courses that helped people like expand their mind rather than crush their imagination at school. You'd open that up to people that come and then use your computers and fucking buy their own rigs, and that set up like I'd buy Corsair. I'd have every fucking RGB accessory in the world. The best ones would all be owned by our company. So you'd have that, right? You'd have like PC rigs, and you'd have your vertical integration. So you'd have done that, but you'd have done it via purchasing somebody who currently was big and had good brand and good distribution and good manufacturing, and they'd own their own value chain rather than use like outside factories to do it. You'd have that whole thing, right? You'd buy that whole column of an industry and you'd use it as one pillar underneath this huge behemoth of a company you're going to build. You'd do what he's done with Amazon fulfillment, set up a skeleton delivery system faster than Amazon, potentially within a couple of hours, have it all through the center core of America. East and West Coast, you'd have 2 massive systems set up, huge centers, fulfillment centers and warehouses. And I'd take, and in all of these endeavors, I'd give staff above, like a huge, maybe 20+% above working wage, not this minimum wage, right? But like what's due is like, and worked out to be a fair value for a day's work, 20% plus. Because I can afford to, and I'd be then recruiting the best staff with the best customer service who'd give so much of a shit about us, right? And I'd do that with any company I ever run. I'd overpay the staff. That's like bare minimum. Because why else are you running a fucking company, right? Like seriously, why are you doing this? Like, it's so that you can help other people pay their mortgages, put their children through school, pay their healthcare, right? So there you go, top healthcare for absolutely every single worker, regardless of the hours they do each week. I'd be paying them 20% plus.
I'd be encouraging them to come up with as many fucking ideas as possible and try them at their fucking shopping destination, which is what it would be. I'd have little leagues, I'd have gaming rigs, I'd have fucking vertical integration, I'd have fucking proper worldwide competitions with the best of all possible gaming teams and World Cups. I'd have the whole agency and representation and sponsorship thing fucking massive. And when it got huge, I'd partner with Disney. I'd build a streaming service where the two of us were 50-50 on a joint partnership endeavour to make sure that esports was the future of sport on live television, and I'd have it in every home in every country in the world for free for a period of time till they realised how amazing it was. I'd even subsidise it if Disney weren't up for it so that everyone could see how fucking awesome this shit was, and then I'd flick it on to like $5 a month subscription and I'd have literally 1 billion customers in a month. That's what I'd do. That sort of thing. And that's just a start. That's like what I'd think off the top of my head in 5 minutes, right? And I'd give every single shareholder $50 at least, or else the equivalent of whatever the average game, or probably just $100 credit towards a game that wasn't redeemable at value in of itself, but you could spend up to and including $99, 0.99, about 99 cents on a computer game, and I'd let you redeem it in and around Christmas time and or your birthday, but probably just for ease of use I'd make it like the last 4 weeks of November and then up till like the 26th of January so that it wasn't available in the sales. Sorry, the 26th of December. And then that's what I'd do, that sort of thing. And I'd probably do it, if I was hoping to do it successfully, I'd delegate it by hiring the best executives in the world, which I could afford to, so I've got $1 billion. I've got $1 billion. So that no one can stop me, right? Literally no one can stop me. And also, if I was running GameStop, I'd know that the people who were backing me were BlackRock, and I'm a cheeky fucker, right? I'd take BlackRock's support and I'd maximise every possible avenue of help they would even likely give me, and I'd take it before I asked, and then afterwards I'd ask them if that was okay, and they'd say, mate, you're what we want, go for it, double it up, triple it up, work away. And that's how it works, right? And you'd say, look what I've done this, I've done that, I've done the next thing. Let's fucking go. And BlackRock would be like, well, we know it. That's why we gave you the job in the first place, because they only do that sort of thing with people who they can implicitly trust. You know, they only back people that they know that will succeed. And if anyone ever steps in their way, they destroy them, which is what we're seeing happening now with Citadel. So that's what I'd do. That's what I'd do, and I'd also put it out there that via tweets and so on that I was with you, the apes. That was one of you. And I'd say, like, to avoid all cynicism, to show the integrity and authenticity of who I am, and that although I know that this is going to make me a superstar CEO, which he already is, right? Literally, definitely, right up there, far better than any of the current like Airbnb guys or whatever, like not even close to the superstardom that Ryan Cohen's achieved already, right? Truthfully, you then say like, here's this AGM, right? This is this shareholder meeting. On top of like all of our corporate actions being done, if they are post-market or done at the ideal time for retail investors, which is like the biggest thing he could have possibly done to show that he truly does believe in us and hope that we're with him, and vice versa, is he could probably link his speech in the AGM, which is going to go down in history, he could probably link it to like something that means more to him than even this success, which would be, say, for example, like something he really fondly remembers about his dad, right? And so that it's like he's unquestionably on your side. If I was like Ryan Cohen, if I had that job, that's what I'd have done, that sort of thing. So essentially what he's done, and similarly to like what he's going to go on to do, and I'd turn it into the biggest company in the world. Right? I'd turn it into the biggest company in the world. And I'd absolutely destroy my enemies along the way, so that by the time I got a couple of years into that plan, everybody knew the story and there was nobody in opposition and the world got behind me, which we've already done.
So that's what I'd do, right? So I'm glad that the camera came back so that I could answer that question. Kenny G Conscious was a lot. Yeah, so if you haven't checked out Rocky's video, I think it was yesterday just, he's got subtitles on it now, so if you've seen it and didn't understand it, now you can go back and watch it and see how hilarious it is. And it's worth 100 watches because it is hilarious, and we want to hear what Kenny's thinking at night time and his deepest thoughts. That's essentially what it is, probably, allegedly. It's all done in good taste. I'd like to see somebody take umbrage to it and fail miserably. Right, so prices is like 199 spot 80. That's obviously a bargain, right? But when they get down here to what is obviously a bargain and people obviously buy it, do we see that? I just moved volume. Do we see it? You know, is there anything pushing it below 200? Because you would expect there would be, right? If something's pushing it below like a level, you'd expect some sort of volume, either pushing it there or picking it up once it gets there, right? You'd expect something if this wasn't complete and utter bullshit lies. Right, we're under 15 minutes and we're doing this shit again, right? It's again doing this shit, so that you have to stretch it up and you realise there's never been less volume on these sort of candles. Like, look how fucking awful that is. See it when it's green, red. So there's where we are. We've only had like a few of these ever. Such loads of bullshit, eh? I mean, you can tell when they do their absolute best, you can still tell. And when it's as obvious as this, it's like, what the fuck? These people should be in jail. Aaron Paulin agreed. I don't think it will affect me personally, but I don't expect the likes of Renzel or Regis Queen to hold past certain numbers, to be honest. I don't know what is up with them. I refuse to give them any more attention. It's disgusting, really. The end of this history will tell its true story about it all. And anyway, in the meantime, 199 spot 80. Some people should just apologise when they're in the wrong, because bad smell persists around their reputation. It's disgusting. It's so egotistical to realise how such a small thing it is to apologise when you're wrong and everyone can see it. GME is the best stock and I'm thankful for it. I put in what I could afford to lose, so I'm in this for either zero money or life-changing money. Team Pokerist with exactly the same sort of plan as me and the best possible plan anyone can have. Like, there is no fucking around. There is no reasonableness. There is no middle ground. There is no compromise. There is only absolute victory, or we wait, we hold, and we get it some other time, just round the corner, or round two corners, or whatever it means that they have managed to extend their pathetic existence out for till the MOASS wipes the smile off their faces. Anyone the link for the funny video? I can't find it. Rocky, you could share the link to your video there, and then I could pin it up the top so that people could see his inner voices. Frostgrace, you just said, I think, hope I'm not forgetting someone, for the first time other than Jamie or I actually Diamond Hand 4. Diamond Hand 4, the other 4 chart is bollocks. What was it Frosty Chris said so I can see what he said? At the end of the day, I only sell when I need to dip into savings, otherwise it's all an infinity pool. I got plenty of PLTR to sell before I will touch my GME. Yeah, there's so many other things to go through, and that's like the perspective I had when I entered GME, essentially. Was like, oh, this could be a good value play, you know, and I'm also trading other things all the time, and as it got larger and larger in my account, that was a direct correlation with how much I could see that the bastards that run the world were fucking shit over. And although like when I do option trades, this, that, and the next thing, like part of that is to raise money for me. The vast majority of it is like reinvested in my position, because like when I ever come to spending money, I'm thinking, well, where do I want to put this towards, you know, and what can I actually need to put things towards. And so once my bills are covered, it's just a question of like what's the luxury and what not. And so like nearly always goes into GME, and was paid by YouTube, I don't know, like 7 or 8 days ago now. And again, I was like, well, I really need like this new camera, and somebody has donated something to. We'd already really got the camera stuff.
Harley Quinn, nice to meet you.
But I'd already put loads more money in. So anything that's like back up on the credit card again, even though I know I have to spend money, it's like, well, I know I'll get paid again in another however many days.
voices.
And like the credit card payment, if I do this now, isn't due till after then, so it doesn't cost me anything in terms of credit. And like I can live that way, you know. And that's like, at the same time as trading, as having a trading account, it's just that the whole markets are shit at the minute. So you need a lot of time, and everything, like I'm streaming a lot of the time when markets are open. So it's either crypto or nothing for me to trade. In terms of like living expenses and that, don't do the Airbnbs anymore. So it's like I have to do my trading in crypto land, most of it. What was that donation that came in there? Let me read that. Let me read it. Well, pardon me. Yo. Also, there's Tradespotting shop, which is unreasonable.shop, which I've yet to exactly see if I've been paid from yet. It wasn't in my account, so I probably haven't been. But I'll have to check what the chat is. And yeah, so there's that, right? And that's other things that come in. And it's the same story with that, right? When that comes in, you've got liquidity, and a choice is always like, do I spend this money on Starbucks, which like we never do, Rocky and I never do. We talked about this all the time. Like we live really close to each other, but there's 3 Starbucks, like one just beside my place, one just beside his, and then one in the middle. And it'd be great if you had like all the money in the world. You would buy maybe Starbucks, but I've been saying that since I had nothing. And the more I get, the less likely I am to go into a fucking shop like that. Soul destroying bastards at the best of times, allegedly. Yeah. What am I fucking talking about now? Oh yeah, like when you get money, you're like, well, what am I going to spend this on? It's like, well, what do I want? Do I want this, or do I want to destroy the people who are going to ruin my children's life? And it's like a no-brainer every time, especially when you look at the technical analysis and you're like, well, this says that everybody else is doing the same thing as me, which means it's going to fucking explode. Pass it on. Vlad should be in jail. 108.98, right? So, I mean, I'd be buying it right now, right? I'd be buying it right now. I'd be buying it at this 618. That's where I'd put a big chunk in at 194.83. But like, I'd put a limit order in now because you don't know what's happening. This is already hitting previous lows. It didn't stop at the 618 previously. You know, it didn't go down there. It's bounced before it. Again here, it bounced before it. And who's to say it's going to get right on it now? The last 2 times it got close, it didn't hit it either. And like other people draw their fibs differently. Some people draw them from body closes and that. And if you were drawing them from the body closes, like there'd be like much more chance that you would be hitting these numbers already. And then this here, Fibonacci, you know, I don't go for like the crazy stuff yet. It's usually like if I include the wicks on it, it's because I think like wicks in certain types of analysis, like you can't ignore reality. Like you're doing it to find out about reality, so why are you ignoring a wick anyway? I have every penny I own except for immediate living expenses in GME because I've walled my life to punch the ruling class in the face. I've waited my entire life. Sorry, I read that so bad. It's because the monitor's so big. I've had to push it far away from me, and now I need to make this font's normal size. And I also got this microphone on that chat, and I've got the camera in front of that chat, so I can't see anything properly. Hey, I just move it. Hey, wow, I'm so much better. I just moved it. Now I can read things. I have every penny I own except for immediate living expenses, livings, in because I've waited my whole life to punch the ruling class in the faces. Whoop whoop. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Winding up a haymaker, innit, Daniel? Yes, so there's people like Daniel there. I have every penny I own except for immediate living expenses. So that, like, think about that. There's somebody who has every penny they own apart from their immediate living expenses in this thing, right? And to how extent does that be true? If you like actually draped it over my life, that idea, it's like very true too. You know, and you talk about immediate living expenses. Essentially, it's like that's like responsibilities. You know, we're responsible people. Like we aren't like out here trying to burn the world down for no reason. We're all real sensible people. And that, but we're committed to this to the point where the resolve is indefeatable. Like, You ask a retail person, like a retail trader. I even hate this fucking term, retailers, right? But you ask us, what's it worth to you, right? That's essentially the question that's being put on the table right now. Like, what is it worth to you? And the resounding, emphatic, screamingly loud answer is pretty much everything I have apart from that which I need to live on, right? That's how much it's worth to me. And that's a continuum. So the more I get, the more it's worth to me. And then the question being like, well, how much is a chance to change the world worth? Man, I'll work from this day to the day I die on a job I don't like every hour of the day if it could give me a chance to do this. So you're going to reward me with cash and then tell me that reward can be used to do the job for me. Well, then I'll put it to that use, right? That's the best utilization of money I can possibly think of. You want to go out and buy something. Well, I'd like to buy something that changes the world. Ryan Johnson, thanks for subscribing. Daniel Assange, thanks for the donation. You're a legend. Edge Meltdown. Again, Kenny G's conscious was hit. Yo, fucking right was. Did you share that link, Rocky? You can share it in the chat there, and if you did, I can link it in the top. I'll scroll up here and see if Tradespotting, and you see my name. I see my name there. Lipton. Okay, I'm sold. Tradespotting for GME CEO. I'd love to do good things for GameStop, but I'm not. And like that's again like I'd literally would. I'm not being silly here. Would love to do anything that could possibly help GameStop. And if they ever reach out and like need influencers and that sort of thing, like I'd be all over that. Like, and it would be totally free. Never charge a penny for it. This is exactly what this is right now. So that's what I do. Right? I'd probably even not swear and stuff if they wanted me to. I could at least practice. And what I mean is not that I'd be CEO, or not that I'd be employed, or not that I'd be an entitled, as I've been described for asking if I could hand out leaflets to help Superstonk. But like, I'd be saying, I'll do anything for you guys. There's no cost. I'll do it along with your terms of service, and like presenting the brand image you're looking for. Put my fucking blood, sweat, and tears into it, in order to build this company up, right? To do what it can do, because I've got some spare hours in the day where I can do that, right? I have some, and I could answer less messages and spend the time doing that. Whatever I would do it. And it's not in turn for any sort of reward from GameStop, or in any perspective of me thinking I'm entitled or better in it than anybody else. It's just like there's a commitment that I would put towards this thing. Obviously I would. So I know you're joking, but also like there are thousands of people that would do that, the same thing, might not work in a shop doing retail customer facing thing for free. For that I'd want money, and if I was the boss of someone doing that, I'd pay them more than the living wage, right? I want to change the world myself, like, and I can't start doing it directly and in exactly the way that I mean to continue by doing that right now, and I expect that that's something we'll probably see from Ryan Cohen, because he isn't the sort of person that waits until the MOASS to start changing the world. He'll do it already. Watch what happens. Like, there will be stuff coming out over the next couple of months in the news about GameStop, about how their working conditions for staff are getting better. Now, I don't know what the healthcare situation is for staff there at the minute, but that'll be getting better if it's at all possible, and I expect it would be, and it'll be going to more people if it isn't going to all of them now. And I expect their wages will be going up, right? They will watch that space. And I know lots of people have said, like, and there's a dude on YouTube that talks about working for, can't remember his name, or give him a shout out, working for GameStop, and I think he was like a manager at some sort of reasonably advanced level. And he was talking about what the working conditions were like previous to to when he was there, right? Previously, when he was there, he talks about them, and they seemed pretty rough. And it seemed like there wasn't really maybe the proper support for those people who were expected to manage other staff. And when I say the proper support, I mean the responsibilities were put on them, sure, but so were like the wrong kind of deadlines and the wrong kind of expectations. And I don't think you should link manager performance to sales performance. It's not true. That's not what a manager's job is. I've seen it for myself. The manager's job is to look after the well-being and the productivity as a result of that well-being of their own staff, not to use the productivity against their fucking well-being, which seemed to be like some stupid-ass Calvinism, draconian nonsense management that was going on there in the past. And that seems like that's going to have changed. A lot of that will have changed. And then I really hope it does come out into the news and that, so that other companies decide, like, well, look what that Like, imagine the effect that would have if Ryan Cohen's one of his definitive actions was to pay people above market rate for doing the job with his company and our company, which I'm all for, right? That's one of the first things I'd do with the company if my shareholding had any effects, which it doesn't, because it's not minuscule compared to everyone else's. These people, it would be towards that first before all else, and then other CEOs would be like, well, look, we want people to invest in our company. We want our stakeholders, right? Not just our shareholders and not just our customers, but we want all of our stakeholders to benefit from the goodness that we can do, and that to be like the synergies of that to increase all aspects of our business. And so Ryan Cohen comes out and says we're paying people above 20% above market rate. What are Amazon going to do? Amazon, who won't let their staff go to the toilet so they have to piss in bottles when they drive around. Amazon, who make their staff sleep in their vans and cars, allegedly, who won't help them when they get malicious reporting from other drivers just because they hating on people like there's badness in the world, allegedly. When their staff get abused, and that when they're being forced to, allegedly, when they're being forced to carry like dangerous weights, when they're being blamed for bad for issues at the distribution centres or the other parts of the logistic chain that aren't a delivery driver's fault, when they're working like insane hours, when they're not getting sick pay, when they're being treated like fucking shit, basically. What are they going to do when GameStop say, well, we're paying people 20% above market rate, and you get as many breaks as you want, and that you'll get extra money for being really productive. You can take the break if you want it, and yet we're still going to achieve better delivery times than you, Amazon. What do they fucking turn around and do then? What does the richest man, that's like one of the top richest men in the world, who's flying himself into space because he just doesn't know what the fuck to do with his money, so he's going to fly himself into space, right? And I understand tourism, I understand that idea, but is there any bigger fucking waste of money right now than sending someone into space without a scientific purpose? Is there? In the entire world? Like, not only is it like awful for the environment, not only is space tourism an absolutely fucking stupid idea, I mean, yeah, ooh, it's cool. You're a fucking fanny if you think space tourism is a good idea. It's a fucking stupid idea. It's one of the stupidest ideas I've ever heard in my fucking life. Space tourism? Are you the stupidest fucking person in the world? You telling me that's a business? Nah, it's fucking stupid. The best you'll get to it, and closest you'll get to it, is Branson's idea, where he'll fly you up around and that close to the fucking space, and you get a wee bit on a plane, and it would be even better if you landed somewhere other than where you took off, because the true purpose of a journey is to fucking go somewhere, right? Even if that is just the experience and you end up where you are in the first place. You could add value by putting a destination on the end there. It's fucking stupid, and all these people that do it are all fucking stupid egomaniacs, and I suspect that they think they're getting fucking closer to God the higher up they go there, and the truth is they're getting further away from what is the real humanity and the real purpose of life. In every possible sense, the literal sense, the fucking metaphorical sense, figurative, illustrative. No wonder that petition came out not to let Bezos back into the atmosphere once he'd left. Anyway, yeah, space tourism's a fucking stupid idea, right? It is. There's people that don't have enough water to live, right? And you could probably cure the vast majority of people who are going to die unnecessarily with cancer because they don't have the money to fix it, rather than start a fucking space tourism business. Like, you could, and those people's lives you'd saved would have added so much value to the world. Like, you're like, there's some people who just don't get it, right? And they think, oh, I've worked so hard for this. It's like, mate, there's people working far harder than you for nothing. What makes you think just because you worked hard you deserve something? I work here all the time. Like, does that mean I deserve, like, I put a lot of effort in this, does that mean I deserve loads and loads of fucking money? No, it doesn't fucking mean that at all. Like, what you actually do that actually helps people, that actually results in them doing better in their actual life, being more effective at improving the world around them. That's the only thing you should be rewarded for. Like, and I don't, like, what does anyone care about what Jamie Curran says about Jeff Bezos? Fucking no one cares. But the truth is, it's not me saying it, is it? It's everyone, it's humanity. We're fucked off with this shit. We're so fucked off, and you're out there talking about space tourism? Get fucked, mate.
Get fucked. That way your staff have to pee in a bottle. Oh my god, man. You wonder where the inequality comes from. But they deserved it because they took a risk. They deserved it because they worked hard. They deserved it because they put the hours in. Nah, there is no of that. There is none of that shit. But Matt, I did this and nah. And everyone's like, Amazon. They were a fucking stupid idea to start off with. It's the truth, right? Don't listen to the stupid movies. Don't listen to the narrative that these famous rich people put on their past. It's all fucking bollocks. His first idea was fucking stupid, right? And I'm not surprised his wife didn't leave him then. It was only when he pivoted to doing the whole logistics thing and they used the system that they'd managed to fucking lose shitloads of money on developing in the backseat. And he'd live around hundreds of thousands of books in his house building it up, so he thinks that that means that it's worth something. Nah, man. It's like everybody else knows. 90% of what happened was luck. It could have happened to somebody else. It was luck, right? Luck and timing and that. And you think that that somehow, because it happened to you, justifies you living with billions and billions and billions of dollars when people need that money to solve problems? Fuck you, right? And that goes for a lot of rich people, right? And it includes a lot of institutions, right? Institutions that have existed for literally thousands of years, who they themselves claim and truthfully do a lot of good in the world, but also do harm and sit on vast sums of money. You know, some of them are religious institutions, and they sit on this money to better their own. It's disgusting. What am I talking about? It's supposed to be doing the TA. Let's do some TA, and then I'm going to take a quick break and say hello to my mommy. So this is what I was saying earlier, right? It's important today. Is not important, but it's slightly more significant than most weekly closes, because along with being the weekly close, which is like continuing its previous pace and direction, is also another donation, but I don't see it there. So where did I see it here? Oh, someone bought a top. Anonymous bought to Dark Bing Bong Tea. Love it. Thanks very much. I hope it suits and it fits. And if it doesn't, it's unreasonable.shop. But there are returns and whatnot. It's nothing I have to deal with. And if it doesn't work out, I wouldn't be surprised at it. So thanks very much for buying that. It's really appreciated. And it's a unique shopping experience you're getting at unreasonable.shop. You'll never find it anywhere else. And I'd urge everybody else to avoid making decision or taking actions that person just took, because you will also find yourself completely unsatisfied. Look at the state of my hair. Right, and I really need a haircut. There's none of this wait until the MOASS to get me haircuts. I'm going to have to do it. Yes, so the weekly time frame. Let's just start this again. Everything working? My washing machine's on, I notice. Well, it's nice when your mum comes around and then she cleans up and does all this stuff. It's fantastic, innit? Getting the washing machine and all, and I should probably do done other stuff in the meantime. I'm very lucky, very lucky, very lucky. But that washing machine's annoying. Right, so technical analysis for the end of the week. Little summary here. Prices are continuing in this minor downtrend. It's also part of a cup with handle at the same pace and in the same direction as they've been doing for the previous several weeks. On the weekly close at the end of today, we also have the 3-day close. That comes in again, 3 hours 16 minutes. Again, we're at current rate, making a tiny bit of a lower low. Perhaps it's actually really confluent with where we're at. But if it is lower, you can see that there's a touch of bullish divergence in that the oscillators themselves haven't made a lower low. And so if we close in around here in 3D time frame, that's good, but I see the price is at least touching down towards the 618 Fibonacci retracement, which is at $194.65. Perhaps at some point during the day, or then later. And then when you drop down, it's also the 2-day close, which also closes 3 hours 16 minutes from now, but as with
the actual close. You know, if this is a clip and you're watching it later, you can tune in and I'll be here for the close. See that currently price is just below the $200. Also on this time frame, you can see that in terms of body close, we're much lower 2 days, and so it's only down there on that. But if you look at the MACD, it's like hugely bullishly divergent, right? Hugely on the 2 day time frame. That's significant, right? Very significant and very positive, regardless of what we do with prices. And we'll go down to the lower time frames and we'll talk about why it counterintuitively might actually be positive for us if prices do finish down or even lower than they are at the minute, in terms of what the reaction we might see. And again, if you look at the RSI, you can see again, like this is a series of higher lows while prices are making a series of lower lows. That's extremely bullishly divergent. It's something that literally nobody else is talking about right now, and it's painting a picture for us, a picture of a huge reversal coming, which could have a huge move on it. Dropping down to the daily time frame, you can see, well, this again, picture of lower momentum on the MACD. Again, you can see that's very similar on the RSI. You could say that potentially we're at the same place, or soon, if this is a lower finish, we would have a lower picture on the RSI, and our price action, if it finished in around here, would also be low. So you'd neither have bullish nor bearish divergence. Alternatively, if the RSI ticks lower and prices then go up, that could put in a touch of bearish divergence. Just check that noise was meant everything's okay. Hello? You okay? That's okay, bye. Sorry for that interruption, just to check everything was okay with the loud bang there. Okay, I'm back on the internet, thanks. So, we don't mind if the prices finish slightly lower here, because at the very least that would put in some bullish divergence, and alternatively, if the prices go higher and the RSI drops down, then you'd see bearishness, but I don't anticipate the bearishness playing out. I also think because of the nature of this area here and the way that this Fibonacci 618 comes in, as you can see on the 4 hour time frame here, a slightly more clearer picture despite all these drawings on the charts. The 618 Fibonacci retracement coming in at that area will act like a magnet for prices. We've already got very close to touching it once, and close enough is near enough in my book, but I wouldn't rule out another touch of it. And if that does turn into what ultimately looks like bullish divergence at the end, I'd be very happy with that, and I wouldn't expect prices to move below what is essentially like the center line of this channel. Now, the channel itself can be drawn lots of different ways. You could use these body highs here and you might get like a slightly closer to the middle type of center line, but essentially it's where it intersects all these lows and touches of the high when it comes back through it, and it's also touched it here once, and it may well be that's as low as we get, as close as you're going to see to the 618, because we never touched it at these two previous occasions when we came close, and some sort of a recovery. With that bullish divergence, it's across a number of time frames. I'd expect that when it plays out, it will take us back up to 212. It may even break through those levels and come back and retest that, and that might be when this formation starts to flip around. And like I say, GME is going to explode, pass it on, so bear that in mind. It will at some point return from this part of the channel to the top, or alternatively we break those levels, put in huge bullish divergence, and then in no way is it going to start breaking out the bottom of this channel unless some absolute massive fuckery is going on. And if that was, we'd see it at the time and we'd be buying the shit out of it because we know a huge bargain is coming. And on that night we'll talk about some other factors down at we'll stay on the 1 hour, talk about these EMAs, because this is the sort of thing that people might worry about, and they'd say, well, there's a negative splay on them and they're pointing it down and so on. But that's the nature of what you'd see when the downtrend finally extends throughout a number of periods. You'll eventually see these things start to turn down. Also, we're below the 200, which itself isn't very positive, but that's all understandable, totally fine, because when you go back up to the 4 hour, you can see we're miles above this 200 period moving average itself, which comes out at the bottom of that channel. Another reason given us for a bounce if we ever make it there, which is also the confluent with the highs of this part of the cup. from the cup and handle formation, then back down to the 15-minute time frame, you can see that there's potentially some sort of W bottom, some sort of rounded bottom, some sort of divergence certainly between these 2 points, and then over the longer time frames, we saw that already. It's like there's shitloads of reasons for this to bounce. You can also see that when you're down at this time frame, even here, there's like where prices are getting picked up at over a long period of time throughout the whole duration of this downward formation. We can see that it's consistently been bullishly divergent on the demand side, right? And so this is going to explode soon, and if my TAs or if it's salt, then it's going to explode up. And do I put my the respect I have earned with you guys on the line for literally no reason? No, I'm not just out here saying shit because it might get me more viewers or it might get me more subscribers. It's so that in retrospect, when we all look back on this, we can say, well, we told as many people as we could, we helped as many people as we could, and those same people then turn around and help other people. And then we're not just passing on the news that GME is going to explode, we're passing on real goodness by telling them GME is going to explode, pass it on. I've heard it a few times this week, so it must be true. Everybody's fucking saying it, and if you aren't saying it, tell everybody, because you're only going to help them. On this time frame, we can talk about what the upside targets are. Now, for this bullish divergence, which we can see plainly takes us up to the top of this channel, and we don't break through it, then we'll have another reassessment and look at things. If we do go through it and recover this Fibonacci that we've taken from our highs recently down to our lows, we'll just get that drawn in properly. Where is that one? That's from down here. This is it here, isn't it? Yes. Zoom in because it is too tough to do it on these tiny pictures. There's your ultimate low there. Yeah, so if we do break through the top of this channel, where we really want to see prices go is above this 236. It's 236. If you can't see the numbers on, put them to the right hand side to be able to see them. Here's the 236. Comes in at it's a 236 Fibonacci retracement, which comes in around 224.82. Get above 224, 225.50, and you open and close a 4-hour candle there, and the next one opens again above that price. Prices will shoot up. They won't stop at 243, 244. They won't. They might stop at 259 briefly and retrace down to the 244. But the truth is that move is taking you into 276. And once you get there, it'll be high-fiving all round, because you'll look back on this and see we've had bullish divergence. We've broke through this channel. That alone takes the measured moves to these sorts of areas. We've put in what might be a rounded bottom, a W bottom, or an inverted head and shoulders. You'll add all that in, you'll say this is going to take us the full length of the move. You'll talk about the things that Frostcrest touched at the start of the question and say the duration of this formation is so long that does that mean that this duration of the cup with handle will be longer? And the truth is, you'll look back on it and you'll see, well, slightly, but more pertinent is that the explosive nature of the move takes you the full 100% plus on it. And if there is like X, A, B, C, D type of formations going on at the low here, which it looks to me like there is, if not a harmonic, which I was meant to draw in before, but the technical difficulties today were a nightmare. I'm not taking the pace to do it during this clip. Well, you'll see that the prices will actually extend up to like the 1414 and the 1618, and that's the sort of thing you'll be looking at when this move breaks out, and it'll be taking prices up to the the low 400s. And before we get there, we'll have a little bit of work to do at 343, and sure, we might go up there and come back, but what you're looking for is a weekly close opening above 343, at which point, when you go back from the 50 minutes and work our way all back up to the weekly chart, and you go in and you say, well, where are our highest high closes? Well, it's up here at 325, 324, 323. You put in weekly closes above our previous wick highs and above that body close, and open and close weekly candles up there. Then you just talk about blue sky breakout. That's nothing, man. This is stratospheric, and at that point, it's like MOASS or no MOASS. Prices will consolidate. Prices will go up. Prices will start aiming for 2,450. That's without liquidations. That's without shorts covering their positions. That's because everybody can see where this is going, and everybody's going to want a piece of it. You'll also have defeated every possible bearish thesis will be completely defeated, because when you look at that on the weekly time frame, and you go to your point and figure chart. I call go figure your fannies. You get a link to this for free in the description of all my videos. You can see the Wyckoff distribution. That theory falls apart when prices get above this 3335, 333, 343 area. I say it for safety's sake, right? I mean, I'm sound bullish as fuck, and it's true I am. But at the same time, when I give out technical analysis, it's like it's supposed to be robust so that it helps people, and that's like with a degree of caution built in. I say that target, but it could indeed be a tiny bit lower. And once you open and close weeklies above this level, you've done something it's never done before. And you might think you have in terms of looking at a linear or a log chart on with a scaled x-axis, but the truth is, when you remove that fakeness and you look at the value of something without this stupid time period shite on top of it, you can see, hey, look at that. We've never put in such a continued trend towards creating new highs with also creating higher lows and higher highs. We've never done that before, and as such, it's the antithesis of Wyckoff distribution. In fact, it proves the opposite to be true. So this is what you're looking at. This is the way the technical analysis goes, and I hope that was some help to you. I'll go back to the normal chart, see GME moons, what I like to call it. As I say, there's links to all these in the description 24/7, so you can follow them along. We're on the 15-minute time frame. We're talking about the fact that prices are already accumulating. We're here touching the top of the oversold zone. That's going to hopefully catch a wave at some point, whether or not it comes back down price-wise. Hopefully it stays above this area. If it does and breaks above this center line here on a positive move, and it's yet to break the top of here, and it's still got some momentum behind it, which we'll be able to see because we're currently having a cross here on the MACD, or about to. Positive momentum starting to build despite the fact that we're in a downtrend. There's huge divergence on the go. This is going to go up. It might even go up by the end of today. So this is the sort of thing that you want to be getting in on. And you look at the DMI and you see, well, we're in the downtrend. This is the dominance of the DI minus, which represents that it itself has been dropping off as the trend has been picking up in strength. What is that trend? Because we can't identify it from the DI plus or the DI minus, but we can see it. It's there, screamingly loud in the divergence on the RSI and the divergence on the MACD. The momentum has changed. It's in our favor, right? Doesn't fucking matter what the price action says. We already know that that's fake. It's the fucking momentum is with us, right? This tide is turned. You look out across the battlefield and you can see what's actually happening. The twats that run their army are away dawdling off on their horse as their plebs that they put in front of them, the pawns that they use, most of which are synthetic shares and complicit, immoral twats. They're all getting absolutely slaughtered. All of them are getting slaughtered. It might look like they've got a huge body of mass of an army there, but they haven't, and they're getting totally destroyed as their leaders run away. And that leadership, that lack of leadership, that lack of conviction, that's all over this chart. It's all over it. It's also divergent on DMI. You can see everything. Like, you can see what they're doing, and you know you're winning. So, right. Psychology that they hope you to experience. They hope that this makes you feel. They want you to feel a particular way looking at this chart, and the psychology of it would normally work, right? It would, but you know what they're doing, and so immediately it fails. You know what this means, so you're buying it. You know the HPV and so on, and the volatility indicators that I've touched on in the last couple of videos. You should definitely watch. If you haven't watched them, you should definitely watch them. You know what they're saying. They're saying there's a life-changing move on the cards, right? Life-changing, whatever you want to do with your money. Hopefully you make the world better. And like, why do I talk about this being so many different positive things? Well, there is so much. And as this cup and handle shows, continuation pattern involves a retrace to test the trend, and as such should be looking at something like a trend test. How do you define those sort of things? Well, test of these moving average, test of support and resistance, test of the bottom edge of these formations that we some people put faith on, other people use as guidelines. All of that stuff, all of that is a trend test. You see it when you see on the lower time frames you flick below the 200 period moving average, but on the hourly and the 4 hour it catches you, right? And hourly we're aiming for it on the 4 hour. Easy catch there. And that's the conviction that these people are demonstrating, right? That what the picture that they're looking at is we're not fucking making it there, right? That's what they're saying right here. And how do we hear that? We hear it on this. Hear it on this decrease in momentum here. It's awful. There again on the 4-hour chart. It's awful. Awful for them. Great for us. Prices making lows. Momentum in our favour. Bing bong, 200 spot 00, and it's a lovely price. It's one you'll remember when you look back. You'll tell your kids about this sort of stuff. So tune in for a lifetime. Tune in for a live stream sometime. We talk about it, or I do, as the greatest story ever told about the greatest show we've ever seen, and it's a story and a song, and it's not played by me, it's played by you. It's the Symphony of the Apes. See you next time. Bing. So I hit record. I made a clip. Whoa, good on us. That'll do for the end of the week. See, when my mum comes to stay, like, I hear a noise and I'm like, oh shit, something maybe I've hurt mum falling over in a gap, and it's nothing like that. And I hear someone shouting and I want to get up and punch someone in the face, even though I don't know what's happened. She's probably watching TV, but I don't know, so I have to check. Just started absolutely raining cats and dogs out there. So, how is everybody? Where is everybody in the chatty? Have I missed things? Have I missed? What have I missed? I was looking through yesterday's video. Case Guy, legend, made chapters again. Like, he's such a legend, and I want you, Case Guy, to send me an address where I can post him Bing Bong t-shirts and any other thing I can do to repay him for all the help he did there. And the same goes for everybody helping out. Like, I will reward you in any ways I can. Case Guy's doing the chapters for so long, and that's a big help, so I wanted to give something back to him. So if you get in touch with me, Case Guy, you can't do it on Twitter, so try it on Discord. If not there, then tradespottingj@gmail.com is where I commonly, people get in touch with me. A fly has got in. Just in terms of not talking to someone, sorry, Rocky Outcrop. Just in terms of not talking to someone that needs help, I am free to say I think it's a bit stupid, but in terms of talking to actual crayon eating people, yeah, sure, Dave, in. Mine is 20 million. Oh, in terms of what a floor is. Yeah. Well, mine is until the dominoes fall, right? Until I see one of the world's largest hedge funds fold. Not only will I not stop the GME investments, I'll not stop making these videos, I'll not stop putting my effort to that cause, I'll never stop. The floor is, you satisfy my need to see the world change. That's my floor. Thanks.
I need a
You
volunteer.
can put a monetary figure on that if you want.
Come at me with an imaginary knife. That's how it's done. Who's next?
That's me!
I love it. I love it.
Who's next? Joe. Chris, $5. Thanks very much. That's appreciated. Do you think Bitcoin will reach 25k in the next couple of weeks? Bump, 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 bump. People who've been following along will have noticed how I was saying, like, when Bitcoin did the downturn from the 64 and then down. Like, I'd had a long on Bitcoin, held till 62. Treasury 64. Rocky said this is going down, not the short. I took the short and held it to 32. 32, I said this is as well, as long as I'm prepared to hold this trade, but I suspect Bitcoin's going down to 25, 26, 22 maybe. That was, I don't know, freaking ages ago now, and have I changed my mind about it? Well, I've taken too long since then, both of which I've got out of in profit, and they were only 1.5% risk reward. 1.5, not 1.5%. And they both went through, and then I got out, and that was that, and I wasn't really particularly positive about it. But I can see that it's put in a touch of bullish divergence and a touch of bearish divergence. So let's check it out. Check it out quickly. First off, we'll look at the CME chart, which is the futures on, I think it's ICE, where these are traded. And you'll be taking minimum lots on this sort of thing, so it's like big accounts, they trade during market hours, and it's worthwhile paying attention to for regard to trends. And the best range you got, like the closest you can get on the lowest time frame you can for a trend, is 4 hour 200 period moving average, but much better looking at like the daily, and at that point we're sitting below that here. It's important that you recover that. That comes in at around 34945. Like, it needs to get above 35,000. It needs to do that, and it needs to hold that on daily time frames and above. That's important. It doesn't need to be so fixed, so let's make it. It doesn't need to be red because it's alarming for no particular reason. Just orange, right? Because that's what it is. It's neither here nor there, but we would like to recover it. You've got this negative cross. You've had a couple of negative crosses there. You've not got anything with a 200, which is positive. On the weekly, you're only going to see anything on this. Oh, the rain. Can you hear that rain? It's like absolutely ridiculous monsoon rain. Scotland though, and it's still a little bit sunny. Which is another monsoon type places too, Jimmy. Idiot. Right, it's 236 down there, also comes in at 32,610. So there's your zone that we're bouncing around, and it's a big one. And if we do go through that, do I think it'll go down to 25,000? You're saying 25,000. Perhaps, because that'll be where the simple the exponential. It's just not bright enough. Is it not saving or what? I always do this. Okay. And the orange one now looks disgusting. See, this one, right? Your exponential moving average, the bright blue one, 3, and the moving average, this one, orange, 100. They're both moving averages, and they're both likely to catch price as well and be reflective of trend on higher time frames. And as such, you'd be thinking, well, 25,000, sure. Oh, look at that! Wow, you got that one. Tradespotting, Known Pleasures. That was Man on Earth designed that one. He's a legend and also really good at design. And this cool ass t-shirt by Mama Jama's got that as well. I sent a picture of it. Actually, it's on the screen there. You can see it in the top left. It comes up every so often. It looks fucking epic. I fucking love it. Good choice, buddy, on that t-shirt. Thanks for all you do, Jamie. You are a legend. 4 minutes ago from Kim Robinson. Kim, 1999. Thanks so much. Just really appreciate. You're a legend. You're a legend around these parts anyway. To me, especially. Christy Chris. Well, that was that. That's going to be Bitcoin 25, right? So you've got your 100 period exponential moving average coming in around 25, and you've got your 100 period simple moving average is a little bit further off. So there's a good area for it to go to if it does significantly break daily weekly time frames, especially below 32,715, which is today, right? Today's the weekly close, and this is the CME charts where you'd like to stay above, specifically would like to stay above those levels, as well as this being the 236, so it's important, and this is only the second time we've sat on it, so it's likely again that it bounces here. Even if there is a wick below it, likely it recovers. This is probably not a terrible place to take a trade, or just off of like just looking at price action and not looking at oscillators. And I'm not saying take one, I'm just saying it's potentially a place where price action could make a small recovery and then fail again at very least. But I'm not saying that for terms of taking a trade. I'm just talking about what this looks like on this time frame. Wow. It's the worst thing I've ever managed to communicate, right? If I even articulated that properly, even my own self-censoring sounds awful. Right, so down to 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 day. You can see that these, although they work to market hours, are still open slightly longer, half an hour or so. Maybe an hour. See that there's like a little bit more room here for a drop on the 3 day time frame itself. Also closes. No, that's not. Yeah, that's today, 4 hours, right? So you've got that option as well. Prices may today be down as low as 31735. It's quite bright from where we are at the minute. 3 day time frames. All of these are closing on 4 day, not the 3 day, 2 day time frame. Well, that's what's the countdown on that say? That's total nonsense, because a 2-day candle can't close in 4 days. Well, maybe it could, but not really, it can't. Well, actually, wait a minute, think about it. Friday, Monday, Saturday, Monday, maybe it does, who knows, right? I'm probably thinking about stupid, confusing stuff. 4 hours left till you've got the daily close, obviously. Below the 200 period moving average here. You might expect to see that.
I need a
touch
volunteer.
At least if it's going to drop down, there is a cost.
Come at me with an imaginary knife. That's how it's done.
Thank you, love your channel. Wow, it's so
Who's
generous.
next?
Thank you very much.
I love you.
Appreciate. Cheers, mate. Cheers. Cheers. And so, like, there is these problems right above us that's going to make it very difficult to get above. This is just looking at this price action of some EMAs, right, which themselves are representative of average trend and whatnot. But it's very simple analysis at the minute, and it's on like higher time frames, just dropping down to look at things and keep it all relevant. So in and around this level on lower time frames, you're not getting any obvious picture on the daily of why it would stop there. You know, there's a gap slightly lower, so if it did get there, it'd likely fill that. So although that's where your period average come in at, I'd actually drag that down there, and 24,655 is the area, right? So if it does go down, and if it goes down from here, because we're already at 236, I don't see why it would stop before filling this gap, right? I don't. So yeah, that would be the price I'd be looking at for a long, right? If I was holding a short, I'd probably close it at the top of that gap. I'd open it if we broke below those sort of wicks. To have a stop loss if it was coming back at this sort of area. I'd have to take it on a break of. I'd probably take it on a break of the support of resistance on the left. That's the truth. I wouldn't even think about entering a short on Bitcoin.
Why, goddammit, you're wasting my time!
Wait a minute, what? $99, a massive one again from Wolfric. Yeah, and Rocky, take Mum to dinner. Tell her she's amazing, boys. Thank you both for all you do. Wow, you're a legend. I will tell her that. Thanks very much, Wilfric Doomslayer. She'll tell me to shut up and slap me. Thanks, Wilfric Doomslayer. That's a really good donation. Thanks so much. And we are trying to do something, planning something for Mum, because it's her 70th birthday soon. So we're trying to play something. It's this month. It's in a few weeks. So we're trying to think of things to do with our other brother, John. Big brother, legend. Love John. If you're ever watching these, I don't think he does, because he's busy. Running a big company that does mortgages and taking care of his family, and looking after his 2 little daughters, which he does alone because his whatever. I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody, especially not the mums of my nieces. So, love you, John. And then, long story short, yes, our mum is amazing, and we really don't deserve how good she is, and you also are amazing, and I don't deserve you guys. Thanks, Wilfried Doomslayer. That's incredibly generous of you. Right, plan something for Mum. Plan something nice for our moms. Why am I talking about so many different stupid ass things? Thanks, Wilfric. And thank you, love your channel from Chrissy Chris. You were asking about the Bitcoin. Didn't give you the full answer yet. I've only got down to a daily time frame, yes, so I think you'd fill that gap if you were looking down. I wouldn't take a short until we broke this level, probably. Or I'd take it here and I'd probably take profit there, you know, one of your 2 ways if you were desperate to do that and you were really convinced of things, and we'll see as we go down time frames. Well, now that we're on the 12 hour, I should have some of the loss leaders on. I should have had them on daily, actually, to be honest. Right, there's some bearish divergence on that high. If it were to turn around, though, if it does go down here, you might then see some bullish divergence, so it may not break below like this sort of levels here. Also, that's where it touched once before, and it touched here, and it'll be so like Bitcoin to trick everybody. Right, so I wouldn't try and I wouldn't take a short after that to make that shitty little move. Nah, I wouldn't actually have changed my mind. I might try one here with a stop loss. Should it break below, you know, should it break below what? It's 236. It'd have to be on a daily. I'd have to wait until the day closed below here. It'd also be a weekly, daily, and then a couple of 3-day time frame, probably all closing below there. Then on Tuesday morning, I'd look at that, or this is a CME, so I mean, if I was trading this chart, perhaps on Bitcoin, I would look for Tuesday's CME open close. In the meantime, I'd look to, and let's go back to actual Bitcoin here. Don't want it on Bitfinex. Don't want it fucking Coinbase either. Bitfinex. Coinbase it is. Right, so well, this is obviously very similar to what we're looking at in terms of price action. 33,571. There's that gain. Higher, higher, higher. Lower, downtrend. Confluent there, bearishly divergent there. Normally you'd see this go beyond the 236, at least test the 236 or hit the 200 on the 4 hour. It's gone below both of those and it's at the 236. So now the question is, does it have the strength to recover? In the lower time frames we can see that's a higher low, but picture of it being picked up and it's touched oversold zone and being bought up again. That's not bad, right? But that's what you would expect in terms of, oh no, that's not good. You've got bearish divergence here on the bottom of the MACD. Well, you can't take a long on Bitcoin right now, but on context of like overall what I expect to see, when I first looked at the weekly, I was like, well, I've seen this in Bitcoin before, right? I've seen this before. I've seen it do this shit. Trick everybody. It's already come in with these wick lows over here. You could easily just go back up, right? You could be looking at, and if it does recover certain things along the way, just talking about the weekly and not even really looking at all this stuff, you could be looking up at 53, 54 real easily. It just needs to break certain targets and needs to put in a bullish divergence. But when you drop down to the daily time frame and so on, you can see that, or even lower, what were we on there? We're on a 4 hour or something. Yeah, you can see that there's actually like a degree of bearishness coming in with this thing. So I don't expect it to be trying up anytime soon, and then the down levels below you are really difficult to trade for. You'd be hopefully, like, if you were anticipating a short on this, the best way to play that would be to wait until it comes back up and test that 200 at 35.5 or something, and some people have already tried that with this close up above, so I mean that's the truth now. That's what you're looking for. You'd say your stop would have to be beyond there, and you'd be aiming for, whoops, boom, 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 boom. You'd want to close this when it got down to that sort of level, perhaps. You'd at least be taking profit in and around there, which would give you a like 3 to 1 sort of thing. Could probably get even more out of that if you're honest, in terms of the risk reward, if you're close with your stop losses and so on. Is it a trade worth taking? Well, you've got the divergence that says yes. It's nearly in that, but not there. I'd still have to wait to see an open and close on the daily with this before I went short, and if I did, that would be my first take profit target. It'd also be incredibly likely that it bounces there, because I know what Bitcoin's like, but if it doesn't, then you're looking down, and then those places you were looking for are, what were they? They were on the daily, the gap, and just above it, so I think we drew them in already with the line, but I don't see it, so have another look. Oh, what time frame was I looking at the gap on? Oh, it was on the gap. It was on the CMEs. Of course, there's no gap on Bitcoin's 24-hour chart. Fuck. Yeah, the CME gap below, and Bitcoin trades can tangle to the CMEs. 33,595, 33,507. Pardon me. It looks like it's about to go into backwardization. It looks like it's going to confirm really bad details, like in below moving averages that you don't want to see it below. It looks fucked for the time being. It's also got divergence at its most recent highs. It's not going up very far, that's for sure. But if it does, then it's got long way to go. Stupid monitor, come back. Sorry, Tuffle Pops appear in front of me. What am I supposed to do but eat them? Futile to even try not to. Right, so I wouldn't take a long. I'd wait till my short. If I wanted to short, I'd wait till it went up a bit. I think the target's below really dodgy. This isn't really a trading zone for Bitcoin, but if you've got some and you want to protect your wealth, then there's a hedge bet there. There isn't really a long yet. Does it hit 25? I don't know, it's 24,955 or something is where you'd be looking at to close that gap, but it's on the CMEs. May well be that they go into backwardization in order to fill that gap and then return to contango, in which case that could end up being somewhere where Bitcoin either turns around or completely collapses. You'd have to look at it again. So that's that. I mean, when you go down to 15 minutes and look at what's actually happening, did we already do for the 15 minutes? You can see lower high, higher high, bearishly divergent again, and lower time frames hitting the 200. I mean, this is going down now, probably going down now. So that's that. Joe. Put a dotted line in there. You could take a short if it hits it again. But it's probably going down now. Probably by the end of the day that'll be down where? Well, let's see actually, where will that be? $33,175. Probably going to $33,175. GME AMC's dropped all the way to $50. It's gone through those places, it's hit those lines, it's recovering 20 period. Sheesh. What's GME done in that time period? 1, 2, 3, confront lower lows, AMC breaking out of that high bit. Now we talked about the potential for this to go down. 54 was what we wanted to see above. 4 hours. Got 10 minutes left till the 4-hour close. What could that possibly mean? Right, it's only 16:20. Okay, you've got 10 minutes left. Lower, lower, higher. But it's broken out the formation, so those lows aren't necessarily relevant. This one, not lower, not lower. Convergence touching the 55. It's also come down, hit that 236 nearly. This is of the retrace fib from, where is this, from here to here? Where is this Fibonacci coming in? This is from here down to here. Should be accurate then, shouldn't it? Right, well it's hit that, that's why it was on there, because of that, rather than it hitting that. It's hit the 55, it's recovered to 382, which is where this line should be, on the 382. What's this line for? This is these lows, probably unlikely to recover beyond 52.20 today, 52.42. A little bit of a ceiling on AMC at the minute. You want to see it come back from that. There is bullish divergence on the MACD if this is a low and you're comparing it to these sort of moves, but the truth is this is your proper low. You can't do that in the MACD anyway. You want to be comparing lows that are in oversold. None of these are. It's back to here, in which case like it's totally irrelevant analysis. It's very difficult to look for that things in the distant past, which is what that is now to AMC after those moves it's made, right? So your MACD's rush to those lines, not seeing much from that. This we're not seeing any more of that. Some people would tell you that's bad. ADX is still decreasing though. Let's see, there'll be a little bit of a bounce here, presumably. That'll probably turn around the green one, this will probably turn around, they'll kiss each other. This will go down here, perhaps. Maybe not that far, but it's at least going to go down a bit. Ugh, why did I turn on those technical things? Go away, hate them. Ugh. Right, so yeah, well, I was going to draw where the ADX might go. Some stupid, crazy person really likes to put my reputation on the line about everything that's wrong with me. So yeah, might see this coming in somewhere around there. Might make it as low as this. If it does, that would be even worse for you, especially if, well, it's just trend down. It's not a big deal. Who cares about that, really? It's not going to tell us anything for a while. Yep. This definitely has one short term. The downtrend is winning on the AMC. Short term. But that stuff's, that's the old news, right? That's the actual current picture. Well, it's a bit of a recovery hitting 20 period moving average. It's not got the most positive signature here on our sign. It's hitting the center line as that's happening, so this is probably also not going to go up. This looks dodgy. A little bit dodge for AMC. A little bit dodge there. It's true there. Is that lower? Maybe. Is that higher? Nope. Might be a bit dodge for AMC, but I'm not going to talk about that for long because just get the haters. Right, and then what am I talking about? It's like GME's not setting anybody's house on fire with amazingness right yet. But we do have lots of reasons why it might, and that's building a positive divergence here. This could explode, right? This could really explode, and it wouldn't, and it could happen when AMC is stagnant, right? I can see that it would maybe drag AMC up quite a big chunk, because there'll be some people will be looking at GME and thinking that it's the determining factor with AMC trumps, like maybe trumping those negative signs that we just looked at briefly on AMC would be GME doing well. That might be like it may well work in that way, but that's like not technical analysis. That's just speculating about stuff. GME's recovered to 0115. That's doing better than a lot of people would have anticipated, and that's had a positive cross on the MACD in 30 minutes. You can see that's a good place. That's a coming in for a cross here too, possibly. It's also done what we thought it would do on the RSI here. If this doesn't fail now, it could have a good move, right? It could have a good move. It could be up at 212 again, guys. Within much worrying about it. What's the time? 18:24. So if I say finished this video and came back, made a clip, which I've made a clip already, I could publish that in the meantime, say hello to mum, eat something, come back for market, close. Is that okay? Did I miss anything in chat in the meantime? Didn't miss anything in the super chats. Did I miss anything in this thing? Not immediately obvious to me. Don't see my name written anywhere there, but this could be loading really lowly. Jamie, should we be worried? No, not really. I mean, AMC's fine. It's really fine. In the long term, it's absolutely brilliant. I'm just talking. I mean, I guess you're asking about that about AMC because there's absolutely fuck all to worry about on GME. It's actually looks like quite exciting, right? It's kind of positive. I don't know if my tone came across that way, but I'm like really interested in this. I think this is cool as fuck. It's interesting here. I'm looking forward to seeing this happen because I know there'll be loads of people out there thinking I'm saying the wrong thing, and when it does do it, that's like I love being proved right when everyone else is wrong. I love it so much. Don't know, maybe there's something wrong with me. And their AMC's had a positive reaction, 5104. Well, I mean, we've already seen that. It's 20 period, it's this resistance. It's also coming in for these fibs above it. I'm saying it's got a ceiling above it and it'll have to do something to get above it. And above that, it's got this 236 here at $45. I mean, does that make you worried? I don't think it does, right? I mean, I can't imagine it would, right? And if the AMC apes are like the GME apes, look, that's only a 236 retrace in this upward move here, and for example, like, you know, the GME apes, like way below our 236 here, we're down at the 618 on this, the ultimate fib, and pull it down here, we're below the 236 here as well, right? It's like significantly further away even, perhaps. So, you know, I could be naive getting excited about it, because like way below the 236 on this was this pullback, because this is this one here, yeah. So AMC is like, and some levels doing better than GME, like, so it pulling back to those levels overall would only be like equivalent of what GME's already done in the short term recent past. So, and I mean, I wouldn't worry. I don't think you should be worried. Like, I mean, I don't think you should be worried. No, I think it's positive, right? These are all the sort of things that people look for when they want to buy this stuff, you know. I don't know what market participants are thinking about AMC, and I can't put my reputation on the line for it because I literally haven't read a single piece of DD on it since it broke through $37, apart from watching Jackson Hunter's videos on it. That and Rogue Legacy stuff about the filings, which I think applies to everything, you know, rather than exclusively AMC, and he's a nice guy. So, like, I don't know, I can't put a reputation on the line or that. I mean, not that I've got one, or I'm just fucking talking shit now, right? Like, what do I think about AMC? Well, I think it's like it's like me could be going in and getting you cheaper buys, right? Which would be a good thing. Maybe not. I don't know. It's got a positive reaction in a minute. If it can get above the 20 period moving average and start reclaiming these simple period moving averages, and then it's back up here or whatever, then that'll come in and through and be like, wow, it's a picture of strength, right? And what does it between these lows? Not necessarily between these lows, not necessarily either. I don't know. But I do think it's got some downside on it, that's all I'm saying. But like, so what? Like, they've all got that potential at all different times. It's just that's the immediate path of least resistance for a period of time. And I'm definitely not here to say get out of or get into any particular stock other than GME. Get into it all the time. Get in it as much as you can. As with regard to AMC, like, I'm not going to tell people to do anything with it. I'm certainly not going to tell you to sell it. Like, that's the truth. They will come down more, but it's got plenty of reasons to be picked up here. Like, plenty. You could just take that trade, and if you were paper handing this, like, shitloads of play. I don't know how what the DD is with this, right? With the short interest, with people being trapped, what effect it had on that. And I know a lot of people send me messages because they trade it like spot. They trade the shares on this, and they ask me prices, and I'm like, look, mate, this my analysis isn't for you. It's for people who hold these things, and I can do that really well with GME because I know who I'm talking to. But with AMC, I'm not sure all the time who it is I'm talking to, or how they're treating it or whatnot, and like, I don't want to damage the MOASS or anything, and don't even know if it's possible with AMC. I don't know, right? I don't know. And I'm certainly not out here to throw fucking shit around about AMC. That's not going to happen. And on that note, and before I finish this show, on yesterday's stream, Frostcrest banned somebody whose name who we shall not speak his name, who like wasn't conscious of the fact that everybody else has feelings which are as important as his own, and he was hurting them and treating those people in a not great way in order to communicate the strength of an argument he felt that he really believed in, right? So I suspect his intentions were good at the end of the day. But this same chap has had this conversation with people before, and he's had it in a way that upsets people or annoys people or gets their back up, and the allowances that were made for him were like over and above what you'd go for on any normal sort of reasonable sort of understanding. And then yesterday, Frostcast decided he should be banned because he was annoying people in front of me, or not in front of me, annoying people in chat, which and like, I've never had real moderators do that sort of thing before. He's only the second person who's ever been banned from the channel, and that the other one was like a bot or maybe two people have been banned that were trolls that I found, and I was like, yeah, you buggers. I don't really mind if like people coming in. Usually I can defeat them in their arguments and whatnot, but this chap's got the same arguments as all of us, really, but he's also got a negative one about AMC, and it was annoying people, and he talks about it in a way that annoys people, and I like him personally. What can I do, right? I have to respect that Frostcrest and any my Lord Frostcrest and my Lord Buttcheeks, they're going out of their way to do me a favour, and they've demonstrated in every possible opportunity that they're good people, and that I like them, so what am I supposed to do? Like, I trust them is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to go stand by them, right? So they make decisions, I'll stand by them. Just like I do with anything, right? It's the way it works. You got to stand by the people, right? And like, trust them to make decisions, and that's the only way I'm going to be able to grow the channel. But before then, like, I only had one rule, and it's don't be a fanny. And the truth is, that guy broke that rule. And like, there is no... he's had second chances in other forums and other places before. He's upset people before, and as much as I want him to get along with people and have a space that's safe and he can like make friends at, and that, it's like, there's an opportunity you keep ruining now. I'm not able to do anything about that. And so yeah, if you get banned, take it up with the person who banned you, because they're a good person, and I wouldn't give someone this role unless they seemed like they were. And if they haven't got the time to talk to you, then tough shit, you shouldn't have got banned in the first place. It's on you, whoever you are, and whatever you've done, it'll be on you. So that's that, right? And I mean, it seems like a negative thing, but it's not. It's just a little bit of like tidying up, right? But then I did wake up this morning to like, it was loads of abusive messages from this person on Discord talking about how he was going to report the channel, he was going to do this now, going to do the next thing. Like, it's just so stupid, eh? Like, someone who I'd gone out my way to be nice to, everyone else had tried to accommodate their differences of their personality with this person's, then falls foul of like just his own inability to manage like manage himself in an environment, which is entirely your own responsibility, regardless of what goes on in your life or in that environment. You always control your thoughts and your actions. It's the bottom line around me. That's that bottom line, right? There's no blaming something on anyone else, right? Your shit is your own shit, right? And their shit will be theirs, and everyone will pay for their own mistakes. And you won't need to worry about that. But woke up to all these abusive messages about he's reporting his channel, he's doing this, he was going to do the next thing. It's like, it's just like the negativity in some people's like so absurd, and that, and people let you down, and that, it's disappointing, and that, and it's like, well, not everyone's like that. It reminds you of the goodness in those people who aren't. So thanks very much for everybody here who's like respectful of each other, nice to each other, sees each other in other areas and other channels and other places, know that they've seen someone here and they see them somewhere else and they say hello and they be nice to them, that means a lot to me. It makes a difference to everyone. It makes the community a nicer place, it makes it more welcoming to people, and it helps push the positive message, which is GME, right? GME. Right, but I'm saying all that on the AMC chart, which is itself has recovered there from, what was it, 47.75 when we looked at it. It was 49 something. It's up at $52 there. That's like, you know, looking percentage moves, and people are paper handing trading in and out of these areas, and that sort of thing's tough. It's tough to bear when you're an ape and you're huddling. It's annoying watching people do that. With regards to the downside, yeah, possibly try testing down again. I could see it putting in areas around here and never really getting there as well, and tricking people, or wicking there and bouncing back up. And if it does that there, they'll certainly have a bounce. And if it's a strong one and puts in divergence, then it could bounce straight all the way back up to 58, you know. And do I think you should be worried? Nah, I don't think you should worry full stop. Just keep an eye on things, pay attention, plan, never bet more than you can afford to lose, and don't worry, because that worry that you're feeling is contrived, is put on you, is designed, is hoping you'll feel that and you're fulfilling other people's objectives. You know, that's the truth. 202.63, 202 spot 63 in prices, everything looking good. Half 4. I think I caught up with most of the things people were saying, and it ended on that housekeeping shite. Like, who cares about that? There's no one's enjoying that content. I just have to say it, you know. And thanks Frostcrest, and thanks my Lord Frostcrest and my Lord Butt Cheeks for doing the good work that they do for free, and that there's no reward on that other than helping you guys and stuff. So thanks. Thank you very much, my lords. Thanks. Oh, and I was also going to talk to the moderators and say, like, yo guys, thanks for everything you do. But one thing that I was pointing out was, we want this to be like fucking amazing in terms of the value it offers people, which means that one of the ways that we can do this as moderators, right, or as people who support the channel, right, even if you're not a moderator but you're in chat, right, and someone asks a question and you think you can answer it, and you think that the answer might lie on the other side of a link, then you can click that link or type in that link to your own browser and go there and read the relevant section and come back and then say it to the person. And like, I'll pick moderators over time who have got lots of different levels of experience. So even if you all go off to the same website that one of you might have given as a link to an answer to someone's question, and you all come back and you all say your own version of what you read and put it over to that person, that's so much added value for that person who might like not want to go off and read about it, but might want to hear your opinion or your take on things, or might not understand, or might their own experience level might be so low that there's stuff in there they read and don't understand, but you wouldn't know they wouldn't understand because you don't know that they are knowledgeable about, or holes in their knowledge or anything. So if you can, like, and I know I'm now putting more work on people, give the best quality of answer to anyone you happen to answer, and you can focus on doing that. Don't worry about the fact that it takes you away from the video, or it takes you away from answering other people's questions, or it means you can only give one really good answer the whole stream to one person. Like, that level of quality is so important here, right? Because I'm so sick of other shitty YouTube channels. I'm fucking sick of the shite they get away with. I'm sick of all the shite they do. I'm fucking pissed off with it. And as a way of going back to these people, like, what we do is like, same way I'd handle Rocky's chat, right? If someone asks a question, a lot of the time I'll be looking up some of the stuff, like, I'll be like, I don't know everything, right? I don't know everything, obviously. I only know a very tiny subsection of things. And even those things, it's good to check up on. So, and I now sound like I'm fucking lecturing people or telling them what to do. I'm not. I'm just suggesting one way that we as a team people, because this is what we are, and like, if this channel does get big, like, I'd reward my moderators in any fucking way possible. And if you want any evidence of that, ever look at anyone I've ever worked with, they'll tell you he rewarded me, right? And I'm not mean that in a way. I mean, like, I'm like saying it and I mean it, right? It's all about adding value, right? And so much of that is your personality and time, and that's one of, like, your personality is the two reasons why I chose the two moderators. And Rocky obviously knows lots of shit, so it's like no brainer. Andy's like does stuff, helps thousands of people all the time. That's what we're aiming for. So quality, and the information we present and the way we help each other, rather than like trying to help as many people as possible, because other people will see the help you do for one person, and even if that's not their question right there and then, you know, that's like, that quality it's worth more than maybe even answering that person's question about something that is like 90% answered, or I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, right? Thanks for what you do, really, essentially, and don't worry about putting in lots of time or lots of effort all the time or any form of consistency. All I really would like is like when you do stuff that's good quality, and you don't have to worry about banning people like that. Don't worry about that. Like, and if you do it, I totally respect your decision, and that's cool. And thanks. And I'm probably put off everybody who's watching, but like there's the chat, quality over quantity. And like I'll focus on, and other people do so much for the channel. Like there's people like Diamond Tips today, and a couple of other people recently have been making clips of stuff that I've done, putting it all over the internet and that, sharing it on every possible platform, sharing it all over the place. And the subscriber numbers in the last 3 or 4 days have gone up way more than previously, and not previously than like the last 10 days or since all that shite kicked off in that other place. Yeah, so there are people doing all different things that are really helping this into this channel. Thanks so much. It's amazing. I never imagined it'd be so amazing on that front. You are amazing. Thanks. And the people will come, right? And we'll keep doing it. And the people will keep coming because we provide help, right? All of us help each other as much as we can. And in any one instance, we help that person as much as we can, right? And there's none of this put on your own oxygen mask before you help somebody else. Like, it's like just focus on one person, right, and help them with that oxygen mask until they're sorted, and then the two of you can save the rest of the plane afterwards. And that's what we're doing. We're saving each other. It's not this put your own fucking mask on first, like put their one, and if you die trying it, trust me, there'll be another ape next to you trying to do it too, and we'll all do that for each other. And then nobody needs to worry about the self-preservation bollocks, and certainly nobody needs to worry full stop. Right, so that's the end of that. Today, look to see prices go up. 212 would be nice. Don't see it breaking it by the end of the day. If they did, the next target's up at 225.50, 224.84, and you close above that, and then you open and close a daily or a 4-hour open above there, you're going to 276. That's the TA for today. It's not. It's TA for the morning, afternoon. I'm going to finish market close when I come back. I'll only be off for enough time to eat food, say hello to Mum and Rocky if he's still here, which I don't see you hear them. So they might not be. Anyway. See us all soon. Bye, guys. Sorry if I'm leaving anybody hanging there. I didn't mean to. Grow like the wind to subscribe. Thanks, buddy. Wilfried Doomslayer. Wow, what a donation. So many donations. I have to roll the credits because it was so good. Even though it makes me feel like the day's over when it isn't over because I've got to do a whole new video later. And I don't want it got to because I'm looking forward to it because I think the end of the day is important. We can look at max pain. We can look at the option chain. We can look at expiry by strike price, and we can talk about what the implications are for next week, as well as do the TA again, and including all those lower time frames, and talk about all that sort of stuff. So that's that. Roll credits, does that work? It does. Thank you so much for everybody who supports the channel, everything you do. I know I've just bored everyone to death, so some people have left and won't see this, and I'm sorry about that. But super chats, Daniel Assange, legend, so many ways. Michael Lee, thank you. Frostcrest, I will fix this. Sorry, thanks. Leslie, stupid, I'm missing it. Luke Spears, Jennifer King Campbell, D Harker, King Nossie, T.H. Jones, Irish Meltdown, The Tiernan, Chris Christie, Kim Roberts, Wilfried Doomslayer. They were huge donations, some of them. Thanks so much. Nick is Rachel Whitney. Was these ones? Elvin, Ryan Dotts. These are subscribers. Victoria Madkin, Josh Savoraja. Grow like some sheegers. I missed it all there. I didn't do very good there, did I? That was like, what was that show? The family, that's like a game show, wherever, and all this stuff rolls in front of you, and you have to like look at it all and then remember it and say it later. I don't know, I'd be better at that than I was at that. That was terrible. That was fucking awful. Right, anyway. See you in like an hour or something. I'll post a video schedule like within the next hour anyway. No, I'll be here for before market close, right? I'll be here for at least half an hour before market close, and